Chapter 368. Even though the backlash from the steel of sun and moon was severe, it was not a big deal to him at all. With the mystical black star art, Ningfan's healing speed was incomparable to ordinary people. For 10 consecutive days, Molan Island was enshrouded in black starlight. 10 days later, Ningfan pushed open the door and walked out. His injuries had completely healed. He was just like an unkillable cockroach. More and more cultivators rushed to Molan Island to investigate the cause of that void fragmentation realm attack. Of course, no one doubted him. They just thought that he was a void fragmentation realm expert of the Rain World, who had entered the external endless sea. Ningfan was too lazy to negotiate with these cultivators. He kept all the ladies into his cauldron ring, and directly kept the star positioning formation away. Many cultivators wanted to ask Ningfan if he had seen any void fragmentation realm old monsters before. However, as soon as Ningfan glared at them, all of them fled in terror. None of them dared to utter another word. Ningfan's traveling light flew towards the southeast. His destination was the Lost World Palace. He had 3 reasons for going to the Lost World Palace. Firstly, there were 4 pill pagodas in the Lost World Palace. Each of them contained countless spiritual herbs. After all, Ningfan was a pill refinement elder of the Lost World Palace. It was normal for him to collect some spiritual herbs that could nourish one's primordial spirit to save Luoyu. Secondly, Ningfan had accumulated quite a lot of heavenly and earthly treasures by slaughtering along the way. 18 drops of void refinement realm demon blood, 4,700 traces of nascent soul realm sword chi, 17 intense severing pills, and the heart of Mother Earth. With so many good things, it would not be difficult for him to transform his dermic powers into divinity, and it would not be difficult for him to increase his sword intent. This time, Ningfan had probably spent quite a lot of time in seclusion to refine heavenly treasures, and use his magic power to achieve the divine transformation realm. Thus, it was inevitable for him to return to the Lost World Palace. His third goal was to take care of Bei Xiaoman on behalf of Yuan Yao, and return the Stone Warrior. If it wasn't because of his relationship with Yuan Yao, Ningfan would at most not hurt Bei Xiaoman. It was absolutely impossible for him to show kindness to her. In his heart, he had already decided that Yuan Yao was his woman and Bei Xiaoman was the younger sister that Yuan Yao cared about. As her brother-in-law, it was naturally necessary for him to take care of Bei Xiaoman. At the same time, he wanted to see if Bei Xiaoman's Crimson Dragon had been completely wiped out. Of course, if Bei Xiaoman still has some menstrual blood left, he would be more than willing to take a few cups of it. Even though it was a little heavy, Bei Xiaoman's meridian blood contained magic that was not inferior to a Dao fruit. After traveling alone for tens of millions of li, Ningfan retracted his traveling light and landed on the Penglai Immortal Island. He completely ignored the island's grand formation. With one step, he vanished without a trace. No one knew that Zhou Ming, the fiendish demon who destroyed the Dao massacre sect, had arrived at Penglai. The shadow of a huge island floated in the sky, formed by the corpse of the divine turtle. When Ningfan first came to Penglai in the past, he clicked his tongue in admiration when he saw this immortal island. Now, however, it seemed indifferent and ordinary. The scenery was picturesque, and the profound cranes were chirping in the sky. It was just like in the past. The only difference was that Ningfan was no longer the insignificant harmonious spirit realm cultivator, who was being hunted everywhere. At the center of the island, inside the Black Warrior City, there were 4 10,000 zhang tall pill pagodas, with a 7-storied silver pagoda in the center. In the pill tower of the southern city, Ningfan's figure appeared outside the southern tower. It was from the southern pagoda that he obtained Bei Xiaoman's permission to enter the 5th floor of the Lost World Pagoda. He managed to form his nascent soul in 320 years. Now he was back. His arrival did not reveal the slightest bit of his aura, and no one paid any attention to him. Outside the southern pagoda, there were many cultivators who were bustling with activity. They seemed to be watching a show. None of them noticed that there was a peerless devil lord standing behind the crowd. TSK. Miss Yalan is really pitiful. She actually caught the eye of that Guzhen, and he wants to become her Dao companion. Rumor has it that Guzhen is licentious and lustful. He has countless wives and concubines. All of the female cultivators he married were discarded after he played with them. Miss Yalan is such a gentle woman. It's really a pity if she is ruined by Guzhen. Shu, do you want to die? That Guzhen is the divine envoy of the Rain Palace, a fourth revolution pill master, and a dignified mid-nascent soul realm expert. Moreover, his master is revered Yen of the Rain Palace. He is a dignified high-grade fifth revolution pill master. With such an identity, it's understandable that he is a little dissolute. Miss Yalan's appearance and temperament are extraordinary. However, her background is not strong and she is just a gold core realm cultivator. Marrying Guzhen is indeed a wonderful thing. However, this Miss Yalan seems to have someone she likes, and she isn't willing to marry Guzhen. I heard that she is so stubborn that even some of the elders in her clan were angered. The Ye clan can't afford to offend the Rain Palace. A group of people were discussing among themselves. None of them knew that their words were heard by a white-robed young man. Yalan is an old acquaintance. The disciple of revered Yen? Interesting. This revered Yen first sent 3 peak nascent soul realm cultivators to join the Rain Palace, and made them the Tower Master. Then, he sent his disciple to forcefully marry Yalan. He seems to have some resentment towards the Lost World Palace. Is it because of the Green Phoenix flame? In the outer hall of the southern tower, Yalan pursed her red lips and sat on the lower seat. Her tight-fitting cheongsam outlined her graceful curves. Her delicate face was filled with helplessness of fate. Master Guzhen, please don't force me. I don't want to marry anyone yet. Yalan bit her lips and tried her best to remain calm. Humph. Her rejection immediately aroused the dissatisfaction of a sinister-looking man. A short and fat young man was sitting on the upper seat. His expression was frivolous, and he was drinking a bowl of spirit tea. After hearing Yalan's rejection, the short and fat young man suddenly stood up and threw the bowl of tea towards Yalan. His tone was cold. Humph. I am Guzhen, a dignified fourth revolution pill master. It's your honor to have my eyes on you. What qualifications do you have to refuse me? Pa. The teacup flew in a perfect parabola, smashing towards Yalan's pretty face. Yalan clenched her teeth and gently dodged to the side. However, the teacup shattered with a loud bang, and the porcelain fragments streaked across Yalan's face, leaving a trail of blood. Pain. What hurt more than pain was humiliation. What was more hurtful than humiliation was the indifference of family members. 3 elders of the Ye family sat beside Yalan. All 3 of them were at the nascent soul realm. 2 of them were at the early stage and 1 was at the middle stage. Seeing their own juniors being humiliated, yet no one stood up for Yalan. The 3 elders of the Ye clan stared coldly at Yalan, seemingly blaming her for speaking rudely and offending Guzhen. Yalan, Master Guzhen was right. It's your fortune that she has taken a liking to you. Whether you want to or not, you have to marry her. This matter concerns the survival of your family, so you can't make your own decisions. Please forgive me, Master Guzhen. Yalan is young and ignorant. Please don't be angry. Guzhen's gloomy eyes were filled with mockery and complacency. He was the disciple of revered Yen of the Rain Palace. He was a dignified mid-nascent soul realm pillmaster, and a fourth revolution pillmaster. How could he allow a gold core realm girl to reject him? Although Yalan was a member of the Lost World Palace, she was just an ordinary subordinate. Moreover, this was a private matter of the Ye clan. Since the Ye clan had agreed to marry Yalan, there was no reason for her to reject it. If you don't marry me, I guarantee that the Ye clan will be annihilated, Guzhen threatened coldly. His threat made Yalan smile in despair. She was not willing to marry him, but fate did not give her the right to choose. Marry me, marry me. I'm just an early gold core realm girl. What qualifications do I have to reject the request of a divine messenger of the Rain Palace? Moreover, Guzhen was a fourth revolution pillmaster. Yalan did not say anything else. She raised her head and glanced at Guzhen. Gradually she calmed down. She did not dare to resist fate, but she looked down on Guzhen from the bottom of her heart. Unknowingly, the figure of a young man suddenly appeared in front of her eyes. That year, a young man who was covered in blood came to the southern pill tower. He called himself Zhou Ming. That year, Yalan's eyes were filled with love. She wanted to sleep with him and become his dual cultivation Dao companion. However, she was rejected by him. Looking back on the past, she felt that she was really a joke. Today, that person had already become the supreme being of the endless sea. Perhaps he did not even remember that there was a girl who had a crush on him. All right, I'll marry you. Yilan smiled bitterly and nodded. Immediately, Guzhen revealed a sarcastic smile. Why? Weren't you saying that you would die for your chastity just now? Why are you willing to marry me now? Very good. That's right. If you listen to my orders, I'll make sure that you'll feel pleasure every day and night. Guzhen's eyes inadvertently flashed with a hint of lust. The reason he came to the Lost World Palace was to follow his master's order to plant a new chess piece here. In the past, the 3 Tower Masters were revered Flame's chess pieces. However, they were all killed by Ningfan. The Green Phoenix Flame was already gone. Guzhen's purpose of coming here was just to plant a new chess piece. As he approached Yilan step by step, Guzhen raised his hand with a cold smile and pointed at the top of Yilan's head. He was about to plant a restrictive spell on her. Yilan's delicate body trembled, and her eyes were filled with despair. If she was only marrying Guzhen as a concubine, she would still have her freedom. However, if she was planted with a restrictive spell, she would no longer be a concubine. She would just be a human cauldron and a toy. No. She gently dodged and her eyes were filled with despair. No. She did not want to be planted with a restrictive spell and be treated like a servant. If you continue to dodge, you'll die. Guzhen's eyes turned gloomy as he pointed at the air with his finger. He did not show any mercy at all. Instead, he ignited his finger with the strength of a nascent soul realm cultivator. Not only did he want to plant a restrictive spell on Yilan, but he also wanted to severely injure her as a punishment. The firepower of this finger was so strong that even the 3 nascent soul realm cultivators of the Yi family would not dare to withstand it. Just as the finger was about to touch Yilan, a smiling figure in white floated in front of Yilan, blocking her path with a faint smile. Miss Yilan, long time no see. How have you been? Whoosh. The white-robed young man just stood there without revealing any trace of his aura. However, Guzhen could not help but feel afraid, as if the young man in front of him was a peerless, ferocious beast. Just as the finger was about to hit the young man, the firepower at the tip of his finger suddenly disappeared. It was absorbed by the steel of sun and moon. Gasp! Guzhen was shocked. He could not see through the young man's cultivation level. He only thought that he was a young lad who liked to play the hero and save the damsel in distress. He took a glance at the young man's bone age and found that he was not even 400 years old. He thought to himself that a cultivator who was only 400 years old would not be able to reach the nascent soul realm at the very most. There was no need to be afraid of him. I can't be wrong. This white-robed young man must be a gold core realm cultivator. Furthermore, this gold core realm cultivator had some kind of secret treasure that seemed to be able to suppress fire. It strangely absorbed all the firepower from his finger. Humph! Insignificant skill. A mere golden core realm cultivator dares to act like a hero in front of me? You must be courting death. Guzhen's gaze turned dark as he pushed out with both palms. 6 balls of grade 4 spirit fire of different colors whizzed out, turning into 6 streaks of fiery light that swept towards the young man with the intention of killing him. Ordinary nascent soul realm fire cultivators would be considered outstanding if they could control 3 balls of grade 4 spirit fire at the same time. However, Guzhen was able to control 6 at the same time. It was clear how profound his control of fire was. If it was in the past, there would definitely be many people who would exclaim when Guzhen controlled 6 flames in front of everyone. However, no one was surprised when he controlled 6 flames at the same time this time round. It was as though all the cultivators were dumbstruck and petrified, unable to think. Guzhen swept his gaze and all the cultivators focused their gazes on the white-robed young man in unison. Most of their eyes were filled with fear. As for Yilan, she covered her red lips with agitation and disbelief in her beautiful eyes. Guzhen was surprised. Could this white-robed young man have some sort of background to be able to intimidate so many cultivators? Otherwise, how could so many experts be afraid of him given his golden core cultivation? Humph! So what if you have some sort of background? Can your background be more powerful than mine? I'm a member of the Rain Palace and the disciple of Lord Yan. I'm someone who can do whatever I want in the Rain world. I don't need to be afraid of you. Gu Zhen's murderous intent surged, and he did not hold back at all. He swore to burn the young man to death with the 6 balls of spiritual fire to teach him a lesson. However, at the next moment, the initially harmless white-robed young man's eyes turned as cold as ice and he flicked his sleeves. With a casual flick of his sleeves, 9 black flames that were half ice and half fire turned into a wall of fire, engulfing Gu Zhen along with the 6 balls of grade 4 spirit fire. With the addition of the black flames, the initially arrogant Gu Zhen was immediately drenched in cold sweat. He had just entered the boundless sea not long ago and did not know Zhou Ming's appearance at all. The only thing he knew was that each of the 9 balls of ice and fire was a grade 5 spirit item. It was a good item that even his master would not be able to obtain. Each of them could easily burn Gu Zhen to death thousands of times. Each of them had the power of a divine transformation stage attack. Gu Zhen was horrified. How could he not know that the white-robed young man in front of him was not a gold core cultivator, but a peerless expert who could kill him like an ant? Almost at the same time, Gu Zhen felt an irresistible sense of death. He could not believe that a young man who was less than 400 years old could be so strong. He could not believe that he, the divine messenger of the Rain Palace and the disciple of a revered elder, would be killed in the boundless sea. Spare! Spare! Before he could even utter a word, he was already engulfed by the sea of flames. With a whoosh, the flames disappeared. In the outer hall, there was only a pile of black ashes scattered on the ground. Gu Zhen is dead. All the cultivators on the scene were frightened by the young man's appearance. After recognizing his identity, they were already filled with unbearable fear. Now that they saw the young man killing Gu Zhen mercilessly, they were even more terrified. As for Yilan, she was at a loss of what to do. As if she had thought of something, she immediately stood up and pushed Ningfan's arm. Run. Zhou Ming, quickly run. Gu Zhen's master is in Penglai. Yilan spoke in a panic, as if she had forgotten how powerful the young man in front of her was. Why would he be afraid of a mere revered flame? Ningfan suddenly smiled. This Yilan is interesting. When she first met me, she wholeheartedly offered herself to sleep with me. When she first met me, she urged me to run for my life. I'm sorry. I didn't hold back just now. I accidentally burned your fiancé into ashes. I didn't mean it. Ningfan was still in the mood to tease her. What do you mean by accidentally? Yilan was speechless. Who would accidentally kill a mid-nascent soul realm old monster? She asked him to run, but he didn't. He even joked, just as she was feeling nervous. A loud roar resounded across Penglai at the next moment, causing her face to turn pale. Who are you? How dare you kill my disciple? You're courting death. In the silver tower of the Lost World Tower in the Black Tortoise City, a red-nosed old man in bright red robes was talking to the Tower Lord of the Lost World Palace, Lu Qing. While they were talking, a piece of life jade in the old man's storage pouch suddenly shattered without any warning. That piece of life jade belonged to his disciple, Gu Zhen. When the life jade shattered, Gu Zhen died. The red-robed old man could not believe that there would be someone who dared to kill his disciple, while he was in charge of Penglai. He wanted to see what kind of person was so audacious. Revered Yan was a peak spirit severing realm expert with high-grade 5th Revolution pill refinement realm. He was a renowned pill refinement grandmaster in the Rain world. Whoever dares to kill his disciple must pay with blood. Why is the Black Tortoise City so lively today? A red-robed young lady who was in seclusion suddenly sensed something. She walked out of the stone chamber and released her spirit sense. The moment she saw it, her face immediately turned cold. Zhou Ming. Why is it him? How did he offend Revered Yan? Not good. The red-robed young lady suddenly became nervous. This kind of nervousness would only appear when she was worried about the stone warrior in the past. Damn it. That big idiot. Why did he offend Revered Yan for no reason? The red-robed young lady panicked and immediately went down to the highest floor of the southern tower. Her footsteps were hurried as if she was going to help Ningfan. Penglai was bustling today. Chapter 369. Who are you? How dare you kill my disciple? You're courting death. A furious roar resounded through the Black Tortoise City, accompanied by the piercing screech of a peak divine transformation realm cultivator piercing through the air. Not good. It was the Flame Venerable One. This person is extremely protective of his own people. No matter how Guzhan died, he will definitely fight revered Ming to the death. Reverend Ming is one of the 8 reverends of the Eternal Endless Sea. Why would he be afraid of Reverend Yin? What you don't know is that revered Yin cultivates a sea of consciousness of fire. In his life he has devoured an endless amount of flames. Not only is his pill refinement mastery outstanding, but his combat strength is also extraordinary. He had once burned a half-step void refinement realm expert to death with his flames. What? Revered Yin is able to kill a half-step void refinement realm expert. Doesn't that mean that his strength is at the top among the 7 venerated beings of the Eternal Sea? Not only that, rumor has it that when revered Flame entered the Endless Sea this time, he even brought along 2 void refinement realm old monsters to protect him. Even though we don't know where the 2 of them are now, it's enough to show that revered Flame's position in the Rain Palace is not ordinary. After a series of discussions, even though the crowd of cultivators knew Ning Fan's identity, there were still quite a number of them who did not think highly of him. Thus, they dispersed in an uproar, afraid that they would be associated with Ning Fan in any way. Not long after everyone retreated, there was a loud boom, and a blazing flame descended outside the southern tower, revealing an old man in a red robe. The old man's aura was extremely powerful, especially the flames on his body. As he stood there, the air around him heated up for no reason. Crackling sounds of explosions could be heard as his aura soared into the sky. This person was Guzhan's master, the revered elder of the Rain Palace, Revered Yin. Who are you? Revered Yin shouted coldly. His sound waves turned into blazing flames, sweeping towards the southern tower, as if he wanted to incinerate Ning Fan along with the tower. This move was called fire transformation from sound, and it was an extremely advanced technique to control fire. Once it was used, it immediately attracted a lot of attention. Layers of fire waves swept out, and in the next instant, the fire waves suddenly disappeared without a trace. Ning Fan calmly walked out of the southern tower. His indifferent eyes swept across revered Lord Yin. He took a step forward, and the ground trembled. Revered Lord Yin could only feel a tremendous force coming at him for no reason, and he hurriedly dodged it. However, this dodge caused the aura that he had gathered from his anger to crumble. I'm Zhou Ming, the Pagoda Master of the Lost World Palace. Zhou Ming. You said you're Zhou Ming. Reverend Yin seemed to have recalled something as the corner of his mouth curled into a cold smile. You were the one who took the Azure Phoenix flame? Did you kill Tuki and the other 2? So what if I am? Ning Fan was indifferent. If so, you can die now. Revered Yin smiled coldly. In the past, when he had the Green Yuan flame, he had already wanted to kill Ning Fan, and seize the flame to vent his anger. How could a mere Ning Fan be able to kill the people he had planted in the Lost World Palace? Today his disciple had also died in Ning Fan's hands. Revered Yin would certainly not let Ning Fan go after taking revenge on him for so many times. Even if they put aside the grudges between them, Revered Flame was determined to obtain the several types of earth vein demonic flames that Ning Fan possessed. Revered Yin patted his storage pouch and took out a fiery red flying sword in his hand. Just as he was about to fight against Ning Fan, the nervous voices of the 2 ladies suddenly reached his ears. It's not his fault. I'm the one who offended Guzhan. How dare you? Revered Elder of the Rain Palace. Are you trying to create trouble in my Lost World Palace? The one who begged for mercy was Yilan, but the one who scolded Ning Fan was Bei Xiaoman. Ning Fan was secretly surprised. Yilan had pleaded for mercy on his behalf, but Bei Xiaoman actually spoke up for him. It was really strange. Doesn't this unruly little girl want to kill me every day and night to vent her anger? I heard that she has successfully broken through to the divine transformation realm. Could it be that her personality has changed after her breakthrough? The crowd of cultivators who were watching the battle were stunned. The originally lively battle was actually stopped by the 2 ladies. Revered Yin held his sword and stood upright. His eyes turned grim, but he did not attack Ning Fan immediately. The reason why he did not attack Ning Fan immediately was not because of Yilan, but because he was intimidated by Bei Xiaoman. In terms of cultivation base, Bei Xiaoman was not worthy of revered Yan's attention at all. However, in terms of identity, Bei Xiaoman was the fourth mistress of the Northern Heaven. She was not someone whom revered Yan could afford to offend. However, what revered Yan could not understand was the rumor that Bei Xiaoman had always been on bad terms with Ning Fan. The reason why he dared to attack Ning Fan in the Black Warrior City was because of this information. It seems like the information I received was wrong. How is this Bei Xiaoman hating Ning Fan? She is obviously lustful to the core and has an affair with Ning Fan. Reverend Yan secretly sneered. The so-called Northern Sky fourth young mistress was merely a broken shoe. Miss Bei, this man killed my disciple. Everyone here has witnessed it. Are you trying to protect him? Kill your disciple. Bei Xiaoman rolled her eyes at him in annoyance. Why does this stinky Zhou Ming still act without thinking? Why does he have the guts to kill just about anyone? Bei Xiaoman was domineering and arrogant, but she knew her limits. She dared to kill a fourth revolution pillmaster, but she was very polite to a fifth revolution pillmaster. She would not make things difficult for a divine transformation realm old monster. As for revered Yan, it was said that he was quite popular in the Rain Palace. He was good friends with many void refinement realm experts of the Rain Palace. Bei Xiaoman was not willing to offend such a person. She clearly knew that it was very stupid to offend revered Flame. However, when she saw Ning Fan smiling without saying a word even though a great calamity was about to befall him, Bei Xiaoman was infuriated. This Zhou Ming is my Bei Xiaoman's man. You can't kill him. Hua. The surroundings were in an uproar. Rumor had it that Bei Xiaoman was the most ruthless, domineering, and unruly person. She would never understand her subordinates. Why did her personality change today? Why would she risk offending the Rain Palace just to protect a Devil Lord? Devil Lord Zhou Ming was indeed powerful, and he was one of the 8 venerated beings of the Internal Sea. However, revered Flame's status was even higher than the 8 venerated beings. Even if Bei Xiaoman had a powerful background, she should also know that it was not advisable to offend the Rain Palace in the lower worlds. Old ancestor Lu Qing, who was guarding the Silver Tower, was definitely the most surprised one. Even though he heard that Bei Xiaoman had severed part of her red dragon after achieving the divine transformation realm, and temporarily suppressed her menstrual cycle, he would never have thought that she would protect others. Ning Fan looked at Bei Xiaoman with a strange expression. His gaze actually made her blush out of embarrassment and anger. Inwardly, he suddenly felt that this Bei Xiaoman also seemed to have some cute points. Revered Flame's eyes flashed with a hint of hesitation. In fact, he did not expect that the Lost World Palace would protect Ning Fan like this. Revered Flame had also heard about Ning Fan's fearsome reputation as the 8th venerated being of the Internal Sea. However, most of them did not believe it. Even if Ning Fan really had half-step void refinement realm combat power, Revered Flame would not put him in his eyes. Bei Xiaoman was the only person in the Penglai Immortal Island that he was afraid of. He also did not want to offend the Lost World Palace. However, when his spirit sense scanned Ning Fan's dantian again and again, the greed in his eyes became stronger. He had wanted to kill Ning Fan since a long time ago. From Tuki's death and the green wand flame falling into Ning Fan's hands. This time, many experts of the Rain Palace entered the Endless Sea for the slot to enter the Thunder Sovereign's tomb. However, Revered Flame already had the slot, and he did not care about it at all. The only reason he came here was for the Earth Vein demonic flames. Tuki's death allowed Revered Flame to find out a lot of information about Ning Fan. The most important information was that Ning Fan possessed several types of Earth Vein demonic flames. Today, he personally confirmed that there were 4 types of Earth Vein demonic flames in Ning Fan's body. If he obtains these 4 types of demonic flames and devours them with his flame art, his cultivation base would certainly improve tremendously. He might even break through to the half-step void refinement realm, or even the void refinement realm. After thinking for a while, Revered Flame made up his mind. No matter what, he must keep Ning Fan here today. Miss Bei, I respect you for the sake of the Lost World Palace. However, it doesn't mean that I have to give face to others. This man killed my disciple. I must kill him. If I have offended you in any way, please forgive me. How dare you? I won't forgive you. Bei Xiaoman's beautiful eyes turned cold. She rolled up her sleeves and furrowed her brows. It seemed like she was about to rush forward and teach revered flame a lesson. However, just as she took a step forward, Ning Fan gently grabbed her wrist and dragged her behind him. He smiled casually. Miss Bei, thank you for protecting me because of our past relationship. However, even though we have a deep relationship, we haven't reached the final step. I still can't be considered as your woman. You don't have to protect me like this. While the surrounding cultivators were shocked again. Revered Ming was actually joking with Bei Xiaoman. Judging from Revered Ming's words, could it be that he had a close relationship with Bei Xiaoman, and they had done a lot of lovey-dovey things? However, they had not reached the final step? Teasing. It was blatant teasing. Let go of me. Don't touch me. Disgusting. Who has a deep relationship with you? Bei Xiaoman slapped Ning Fan's hand away. She did not realize that she had just been verbally teased by Ning Fan. Be quiet. You too. Ning Fan glanced at Bei Xiaoman and then at Yilan. All of a sudden, the smile on his face disappeared and his expression turned cold. He was smiling because he was in a good mood when he saw his two old friends, Yilan and Bei Xiaoman, worried about him. He was cold because Revered Flame kept saying that he wanted to kill him. Even a clay figurine would get angry. Interesting. I've finally made the endless sea fear me. Now the Rain Palace is here to pick a fight with me. Ning Fan's cold eyes glanced at Revered Flame. He saw through his intentions with just a glance. This guy is just a hypocrite. Avenge my disciple? What a legitimate reason. He just wants to covet my earth vein demonic flame. It's just like how he coveted the Lost World Palace's green one flame in the past. If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. If the disciple is that kind of trash, how good can the master be? Yilan was Ning Fan's old friend. Besides, Ning Fan was the lord of the 3 pagodas of the Lost World Palace. It's impossible for him to leave his subordinates in the lurch. It's understandable for him to lend a hand. Gu Zhen was the one who bullied and humiliated him first. Ning Fan then killed him. With Ning Fan's personality, he did not care who Gu Zhen was. If he wants to die, he will kill him. Ning Fan was never a magnanimous person who could tolerate others bullying and humiliating. If Gu Zhen was killed, then he was killed. If Revered Flame offended him, then he was offended. He and Revered Flame already had an old grudge. This grudge had become irreconcilable since the day Ning Fan killed the 3 Tower Masters of the Lost World Palace. Besides, Ning Fan did not think that Revered Flame wanted to kill him just to avenge his disciple. Ever since Revered Flame appeared, he had spread his spirit sense 7 times to sense Ning Fan's dantian within a few breaths. When he sensed the chi of the 4 earth vein demonic flames, the corner of his eyes revealed a hint of joy. It could not be hidden from Ning Fan's eyes and ears at all. Avenging for his disciple was just a hypocritical explanation. His disciple was dead, but he showed joy. It was self-evident. Right from the beginning, this revered flame had come from my earth vein demonic flames. Even if he didn't kill Gu Zhen, once the latter knew that he was in Penglai, he would still have other reasons to launch a sneak attack and hunt him down. Ning Fan's gaze subtly shifted to a certain direction. The purple star in his left eye flashed faintly. He saw 2 Void Refinement Realm cultivators hiding there. Most likely, they were hired by Revered Yen to protect him. No wonder the Flame Reverend was so arrogant that he even dared to step on Bei Xiaoman's face. It turned out that he came with a backer. The other party had 2 Void Refinement Realm experts while he had 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. Thus, there was no need for him to be afraid of them. Ning Fan's eyelids twitched. He drew out a trace of the chi of the Realm Beast puppet from his storage pouch, and secretly transmitted it to the 2 Void Refinement Realm beings who were in hiding. In an instant, the 2 of them were shocked and immediately sent a message to the Flame Reverend. Yen Zun's eyes were also fixed on Ning Fan. His eyes were filled with killing intent. All of a sudden, it was as if someone was secretly transmitting a message to Flame Reverend. At the next moment, Flame Reverend's expression changed greatly. His killing intent towards Ning Fan that he originally had became much weaker. That voice was emitted by a Void Refinement Realm being who was hiding in the dark. He was reminding the Flame Reverend. This Zhou Ming is not simple. He saw us. Moreover, he purposely spread a trace of Void Refinement Realm aura around us. It's not a good idea to mess with him. What? Why is there a Void Refinement Realm chi on his body? Could it be that his seniors are secretly protecting him? Is it a Void Refinement Realm senior who is hiding in the heavenly dwelling? The Flame Reverend was a little frightened. Compared to Bei Xiaoman's face, he was more concerned about the face of a Void Refinement Realm expert. Even though the Flame Reverend was arrogant, that was only true for Divine Transformation Realm beings. He was still quite fearful of Void Refinement Realm beings. Even if there is a Void Refinement Realm being protecting him, I don't want to give up on this earth-vein demonic flame. The Flame Reverend gritted his teeth and transmitted his voice. Then, just use a gentler method to seize the flame. Don't completely fall out with him. Let's have a duel. It won't hurt our friendship. As long as we don't go too far, that Void Refinement Realm being in hiding will not interfere with the battle between you juniors. One of the two Void Refinement Realm beings advised. A duel? All right. The crowd of cultivators saw the Flame Reverend mumbling something. No one knew what he was saying. A moment later, his killing intent gradually withered like an eggplant that had been hit by frost. The most inconceivable thing was that the Flame Reverend who was indifferent to killing just now suddenly withdrew all of his anger. He burst into laughter and looked at Ning Fan with a hint of admiration in his eyes. Then he clicked his tongue and praised. One of the 8 venerated beings of the Internal Sea, revered Ming, Zhou Ming. You really live up to your reputation. I admire you. Just now, when I said that I wanted to avenge my disciple, it was just a joke. I just wanted to test revered Ming's courage. You can't take it seriously. That disciple of mine is ignorant and incompetent. He actually dared to lay his eyes on the female cultivators of the Lost World Palace. Death cannot wipe out his crimes. Fellow Taoist, you've killed Guzhan. The crowd of onlookers was speechless. It was obvious that the two of them were about to fight. Why did the Flame Reverend suddenly change his expression and speak to Ning Fan in such a friendly manner? When they thought about it again, they suddenly realized that this Flame Reverend was just playing with Ning Fan just now. That's right. The Flame Reverend is a well-known senior while Ning Fan is just a rising expert. Why would the Flame Reverend bully the weak? His breadth of mind is really broad. Ning Fan killed his disciple, but he still let bygones be bygones and thought that his disciple had done too many evil deeds and deserved to die. Many cultivators who did not know the truth began to admire the Flame Reverend. Ning Fan also withdrew his cold expression and revealed a smile. His eyes, however, were filled with a hint of sarcasm. This Flame Reverend is indeed a shameless person. I purposely released a trace of the chi of the Realm Beast puppet in order to suppress those 2 Void Refinement Realm cultivators. As expected, I succeeded. Guzhan, Tuki and the others are indeed nothing in his eyes. This Flame Reverend is the type of person who would give up everything for his own benefits. So Flame Reverend is joking. However, I don't think this joke is funny at all. Hee hee. The Flame Reverend let out a few hollow laughs as if he did not hear the sarcasm in Ning Fan's words. Suddenly his tone changed. He looked at Ning Fan and said with deep meaning, I feel like old friends with revered Ming. I wonder if I have the honor to exchange some pointers with revered Ming? Don't worry, revered Ming. It's just a martial arts competition, and it won't harm your life. Naturally, there's no need for the elders behind you to protect you. The Flame Reverend's words had a hidden meaning. I've always been alone in this world. I don't have any seniors. As for exchanging pointers, I don't like battles where there are no restrictions. Ning Fan purposely made a joke which made the Flame Reverend even more suspicious. I can't be wrong. The deliberate explanation is just a cover-up. This Zhou Ming most likely really has a Void Refinement Realm expert protecting him. If that's the case, I really can't offend a Void Refinement Realm old monster for a mere 5th grade Earthfire. The Flame Reverend secretly felt lucky. Fortunately, the 2 Void Refinement Realm cultivators had reminded him earlier. Otherwise, he would certainly be fighting with Ning Fan right now. Oh, Fellow Taoist Joe wants to set up a bet for a battle. Great. I also have the same intention. Why don't we each take one type of earth vein demonic flame as the wager? One type is too little. If you want to bet, let's bet all of the earth vein demonic flames. I have 4 types of demonic flames while you have 3. You won't lose out in this bet. Hiss. The crowd of cultivators sucked in a breath of cold air. Other than the flame Reverend and Ning Fan, who could sense each other's number of demonic flames, the others did not know how many each of them had. However, as soon as Ning Fan said those words, how could the crowd not know that Flame Reverend had 3 types of earth vein demonic flames which were hard to obtain at the Divine Transformation realm, while Ning Fan had 4 types? Rumor has it that if one gathers all 12 types of earth vein demonic flames, the destructive power of the flames would be comparable to a void fragmentation realm attack. If the 2 of them bet all of their flames in this battle, no matter who wins, they would possess 7 types of earth vein demonic flames. Don't bet. That's the green one flame that I'm giving you. If you lose. Bei Xiaoman did not know what was bothering her. Why can't I lose the item that I'm giving to Ning Fan? Don't worry. I won't lose. Ning Fan smiled confidently. He was not afraid of the Flame Reverend, nor the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts. Moreover, if he uses all 3 of his Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets and loses 1 or 2 of his spiritual puppets, he might even have a chance to eliminate one of the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts. However, what benefit would it bring to Ning Fan if he were to kill the Rain Palace experts in front of countless cultivators? He was a person who would maximize his benefits. He would not kill Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace for fun. Divine Transformation Realm Old Monsters were the revered elders of the Rain Palace, while Void Refinement Realm Old Monsters were the peak combat power of the Rain Palace. Ning Fan could imagine that if he were to kill the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts in front of the crowd of cultivators, countless Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Rain Palace would come and fight him with their lives tomorrow. Being able to snatch the flame from the Flame Reverend without losing all decorum was the best outcome. Of course, fists and kicks have no eyes during a bet. If Ning Fan cripples the Flame Reverend, it would be considered as an accident, just like how he accidentally burned Guzhen to ashes. Ning Fan was determined to get the Earth Vein demonic flame. Revered Yin was also determined to get it. He harumphed coldly in his mind. He could not bear to see Ning Fan's confident expression. On the surface, however, he put on a fake smile and made a few excuses. Finally, he agreed to bet all of his demonic flames. Fellow Taoist Joe, don't worry. I will certainly show mercy. Revered Yin sounded happy, but he could not help but sneer inwardly. What he was thinking was actually the same as Ning Fan. In front of the Void Refinement Realm elders of Ning Fan's clan, Revered Yin could not kill Ning Fan. However, fists and kicks were silent. If he accidentally cripples Ning Fan, it would be a different story. Brat, you are not qualified to fight me, Yin Yan. I will certainly cripple you and let you know who's stronger. Revered Yin sneered. However, he did not know who would cripple who. Both Revered Yin and Ning Fan rose into the sky and drew the sky as a platform. Fellow Taoist Joe, be careful. My flying sword is coming. Revered Yin shook his flying sword. With a flash of fiery light, the flying sword disappeared without a trace. Although it seemed like he was warning Ning Fan, Revered Yin had absolute confidence that Ning Fan would not be able to withstand his sword. Stinky Zhou Ming. Be careful. This is the Void Grade Spiritual Augmentation Technique, Shadow Slash. Bei Xiaoman reminded him anxiously. At the next moment, the fiery red flying sword that had disappeared did not attack Ning Fan. Instead, it pierced towards Ning Fan's shadow. The 2 of them stood in midair. Dark clouds drifted across the sky and the shadows under their feet were getting longer and longer. That sword light had already arrived in a flash. Chapter 370. The Fu Liai had extraordinary insight. Even without Bei Xiaoman's reminder, Ning Fan had already seen through the mysteries of Revered Being Yan's flying sword. That fiery red flying sword was a peak transcendent level spirit treasure. It had 2 divine abilities: instant movement and beheading shadow. This Reverend Yin was not a sword cultivator, but a fire cultivator. The flying sword he wielded was only used for sneak attacks. The fiery red sword light flashed a few times and approached the shadow that Ning Fan left on the ground. Once Ning Fan's shadow is injured, he would be able to kill Ning Fan's true body as well. One had to admit that the shadow-slaying divine ability was similar to the nascent soul-snatching technique. Bei Xiaoman was really a little nervous. 2 blood-red stars slowly emerged on her glabella. She raised her small hand, and her fingertips were surrounded by blood-red light. She was ready to lend Ning Fan a hand at any time. However, before Bei Xiaoman could make a move, the fiery red flying sword trembled as if it was struck by a starlight. That starlight was the Separation Slayer flying sword that Ning Fan flicked out with his finger. After Ning Fan comprehended the sword intent, the power of the flying sword was incomparable to the fiery red flying sword. Bang! A cracking sound rang out as the fiery red flying sword was shattered by the starlight sword shadow. A ray of starlight circled around his body. Ning Fan's black eyes were as deep as the bottom of a lake as he indifferently glanced at revered Yen. That's not how you control a flying sword. Quick! Ning Fan changed his hand seal. All of a sudden, the starlight sword shadows that were hovering around him were divided into 10 and then 100. In an instant, there were already 10,000 sword shadows that pierced through the sky towards revered being Yen. Ning Fan rarely used his flying sword technique to kill people. However, it did not mean that he was not proficient in it. In particular, he had comprehended the trapping celestial sword essence with the help of a broken sword, which allowed him to unleash the full power of the flying sword. What a domineering sword intent! Even the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace who were in hiding could not help but sigh in admiration. Ning Fan's sword intent contained the arrogance and overbearingness of immortal Wanju. It was the sword of an overlord. Just by looking at it from afar, it made the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts feel suffocated. The 2 of them could not help but guess what Ning Fan was thinking. Zhou Ming of the Endless Sea has a Void Refinement Realm expert protecting him. Could it be that he is really a member of the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea? However, the Rain Palace had always kept a close eye on the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea. There was certainly no such person in the Zhou clan who was known as Ning Fan. What exactly is this young man's background? The 2 Void Refinement Realm experts began to guess Ning Fan's identity. The domineering aura of Ning Fan's sword intent swept across the long street. The onlookers retreated once again, distancing themselves from the battlefield between Ning Fan and Yen Fan. Facing the 10,000 sword shadows, even Reverend Yen felt his scalp go numb. His strength was strong enough to incinerate ordinary half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivators to death. He had also seen many sword cultivators who had their heads cut off by flying swords. Among all the Divine Transformation Realm sword cultivators that revered Flame had seen, Ning Fan's flying sword technique could definitely be ranked within the top 3. Besides, revered Yen also knew that the flying sword technique was not Ning Fan's forte at all. This old one seems to have underestimated this person. Revered Yen knitted his brows for the first time. Now he regarded Ning Fan as an equal opponent. He patted his storage pouch and took out a handful of red sand. He sprinkled it into the sky and the sand sparkled with blood-red starlight. The red sand covered the sky, and with a sweep of the dust, countless sword shadows collapsed one after another. As for the Separation Slayer, it was suppressed by the red sand. The body of the sword trembled violently, but it did not break. Immemorial divine weapon, huh? Revered Yan's frown deepened. Initially, he was prepared to use this red sand to crush Ning Fan's flying sword to avenge himself. However, it turned out that it was just a wishful thinking. In the first round of confrontation, Ning Fan was unscathed while Revered Yen had one of his flying swords broken. Revered Yen, on the other hand, was at a disadvantage. It's the blood cinnabar. This is Revered Yan's natal magic treasure. It's a handful of blood cinnabar refined from the immemorial star iron. It specializes in breaking all kinds of magic treasures. Immemorial divine weapon. The flying sword that Revered Ming is holding is also an immemorial divine weapon. Rumor has it that not only can immemorial divine weapons advance, but their bodies are also extremely hard and indestructible. If it's an ordinary flying sword, I'm afraid it would have been crushed by the blood cinnabar a long time ago. It's indeed a divine weapon. The surrounding cultivators discussed among themselves. When their words fell into Ningfan's ears, his eyes turned serious. I see. No wonder this red sand is so domineering, and can actually crush the flying sword shadows. It turns out that it's revered Yan's natal magic treasure. If it's a magic treasure, Ningfan's body was already surrounded by the Separation Slayer sword. Then, he pointed at his glabella and took out a blood-red lightning whip. Looking at the red sand that filled the sky, Ningfan did not say a word. He raised the lightning whip to the sky and whipped it 100 times in one go. Each of the whip shadows was like a blood-red lightning bolt. 100 streaks of blood-red lightning struck the red sand with great force. However, when revered Yan saw this scene, it only turned into a cold sneer. In his eyes, Ningfan had already witnessed the power of the blood cinnabar. Yet, he still dared to use his magic treasure to attack him. Ningfan was simply giving his magic treasure to him for him to crush. Break. Revered Yan raised his brows and changed his hand seals. The rolling red sand instantly drowned the 100 streaks of blood-red lightning. He could tell with just a glance that the blood lightning whip was just a spiritual treasure. There was no need to fear it at all. The red sand swirled towards the lightning whip shadows. The streaks of blood-red lightning collapsed one after another. However, before revered Yan could feel proud of himself, his expression suddenly changed. When the 100 streaks of whip shadows landed on the red sand, it was as if they were whipping the primordial spirit in revered Yan's dantian. After his primordial spirit was whipped 100 times by Ningfan, revered Yan coughed out a mouthful of blood. He actually lost his balance and nearly fell from the sky. His injuries were definitely not light. At the moment when revered Yan was injured, Ningfan flicked his sleeve and produced a gust of wind. The blood sand that filled the sky was swept away by him. He actually forcefully took away revered Yan's natal magic treasure, while he was distracted. Normally, only a cultivator could use their natal magic treasure. Outsiders would not be able to use it as they wish. However, Ningfan was different. After keeping the blood cinnabar into his sleeve, his fingertip was surrounded by a purplish-golden mist. Then he wiped it across the blood sand. Amidst a sizzling sound, the spirit sense imprint that revered Yan planted in the blood sand was easily wiped away by Ningfan. Puff! Before revered Yan could stabilize his body, the spirit sense imprint in his magic treasure was suddenly wiped away. He felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and half knelt in the sky. His face was filled with shock and anger. White lightning spirit-shattering technique. There's no mistaking it. This isn't the ordinary lightning of the Zhou clan. Who are you to thunder Sovereign Buzhou? Why do you want to take away my natal magic treasure? Revered Yan's heart was filled with hatred. The Endless Sea had already heard about Ningfan's technique of killing a nascent soul by extracting treasures. After all, to the cultivators of the Endless Sea, it was not a rare technique to attack a nascent soul. Many of the lightning element cultivators in the Zhou clan knew how to do it. However, the lightning of the lightning cultivators of the Zhou clan was not as domineering as Ningfan. It was not an ordinary lightning at all. The destructive power of the blood lightning was like a heavenly tribulation, making it hard for people to defend against it. In the history of the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea, there was only one person who had ever mastered the blood lightning, and that person was Thunder Sovereign Buzhou. There had long been rumors in the Endless Sea that Zhou Ming was a member of the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea. However, after Zhou Qing, the chosen one of the Zhou clan, clarified the rumors, it was confirmed to be a rumor. Revered Yan was even more certain that there was no one named Ningfan in the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea. However, Ningfan actually used Thunder Sovereign Buzhou's blood lightning technique. Could it be just a coincidence? No. How could there be such a coincidence in this world? The two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace who were in hiding had the same thought as Revered Yan. They were already guessing Ningfan's identity. After witnessing the blood lightning, they were even more certain that Ningfan was a member of the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea. As for why Zhou Ming was not mentioned in the intelligence report of the Rain Palace, the two Void Refinement Realm experts pondered and guessed inwardly. Perhaps this Zhou Ming was an important figure in the Zhou clan. He was so important that they had to erase his existence to prevent the Rain Palace from finding out about it. The two Void Refinement Realm experts increasingly felt that their guess was correct. Moreover, it made more sense that Ning Fan had a Void Refinement Realm expert protecting him. In their opinion, the hidden Void Refinement Realm expert must be a Void Refinement Realm elder of the Zhou clan. However, they did not know which one it was. Humph! The Zhou clan has an agreement with our Rain Palace. Half-step Void Refinement Realm experts are not allowed to leave the internal sea without permission. How dare they violate the agreement? It seems like we have to report this matter to the Divine Sovereign. After a round of random guesses, the two of them actually went further and further away from the truth. We must find out which elder of the Zhou clan is protecting this Zhou Ming. Ning Fan naturally did not know about the intention of hiding the Void Refinement Realm expert. It was just a matter of seconds for him to ambush Revered Yen with the spirit-shattering whip. Seeing that Revered Yen was injured, Ning Fan seized the opportunity to snatch the blood cinnabar by force. Without giving Revered Yen any chance to catch his breath, he stretched out his Fuli demon wings and flapped them forcefully. With a flash of purple light, his figure disappeared. What a fast speed! Not good. Yin Yen, be careful behind you. At this moment, the expressions of the two Void Refinement Realm experts changed greatly. They no longer concealed themselves and appeared in the sky, shouting at Revered Yen. Fast! It's too fast! Ning Fan's speed was not much different from a Void Refinement Realm expert when he used his Fuli wings. His speed of 90,000 li was not something that Revered Yen could react to at all. Only the two Void Refinement Realm experts could sense the direction where Ning Fan was going. A chill suddenly came from his back. After hearing the two Void Refinement Realm experts' cries, how could Revered Yen still remain calm? He immediately turned around and scanned the area behind him with his spirit sense. It was like a spark in the sky. All of a sudden, the vast sky within 10,000 li was engulfed by a sea of flames. In the sea of flames, a white-robed figure just appeared. Before he could launch a sneak attack from Revered Yan's back, he was already engulfed by the sea of flames. Fire sense. Spirit sense of flames. Ning Fan had cultivated his sea of consciousness into the shape of a sword and condensed his sword sense. As for Revered Yen, he had cultivated his sea of consciousness into the shape of a fire and condensed his fire sense. With the strength of his half-step Void Refinement Realm spirit sense, even an ordinary half-step Void Refinement Realm expert would be severely injured when he uses his sword sense technique. Even though he, Revered Yen, was arrogant, his strength was also astonishing. At the very least, he was a few times stronger than a Void Insight Realm expert, who had yet to reach the Void Refinement Realm. However, Revered Yen had to forcefully activate his fire sense again, before he could suppress his injuries. Thus, he could not help but cough out a mouthful of blood again. However, he was certain that Ning Fan would definitely be severely injured by his fire sense. Burning Heaven Fire Sense. This is the technique that Revered Yen is famous for. He had once used this technique to burn a half-step Void Refinement Realm expert to death. According to rumors, Revered Ming had also cultivated his sword sense by chance. However, his sword sense doesn't seem to be as domineering as Revered Yan's fire sense. You should know that once Revered Yan's fire sense is released, all beings below the early divine transformation realm within 50,000 li will be instantly killed and burned into ashes. Bei Xiaoman's face revealed a hint of worry. She was not even afraid of I Ching, but she was afraid of Revered Yen. What she feared the most was this fire sense technique. In terms of large-scale killing techniques, Revered Yen could even be ranked first among all the divine transformation realm experts in the Rain world. No, I haven't taken revenge on him yet. He can't die just like this. I can't. Bei Xiaoman's mind was filled with anxiety. She wanted to soar into the sky. She obviously hated Ning Fan so much, but when she saw Ning Fan being engulfed by the fire sense, she became extremely anxious. She did not like this feeling of fear and trepidation. She disliked it very much. She must pull Ning Fan out of the sea of flames. Rumble. Before Bei Xiaoman could rush into the sea of flames, she forcefully halted her footsteps at the next moment. Her eyes widened in surprise. The sea of flames, which was powerful enough to instantly kill an early divine transformation realm expert, was forcefully split apart by an unknown force at the next moment. Ning Fan, who was dressed in white robes and had a pair of bewitching purple wings, calmly passed through the sea of flames. The raging flames seemed to be afraid of him as they kept avoiding him, let alone burning him. How is this possible? Revered Yin could not believe it. The fire sense that he unleashed with all his might could even severely injure a half-step void refinement realm expert. However, it could not hurt Ning Fan at all. At this moment, Ning Fan, who was standing in the sea of flames, actually gave Revered Yin a feeling of fear and trepidation. The 100 types of 4th grade spiritual flames, and the 3 types of earth vein demonic flames in his dantian were trembling in fear. It was irresistible. At this moment, Ning Fan was like the emperor of fire. No fire could hurt him. Fire plucking technique. Ning Fan clenched his 5 fingers, and a tiny vortex of yin-yang fishes was formed below his palm. As soon as the vortex appeared, a strange and terrifying suction force spread out. The sea of flames, which was 10,000 li, was sucked into the tiny vortex and disappeared without a trace. No one knew that the so-called all-out attack of Revered Yin had become the nourishment for the steel of sun and moon. It was going to be used to replenish the steel's soul. The surrounding cultivators were completely silent. The scene was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. They were completely shocked by what they had just witnessed. The 2 void refinement realm experts were also stunned. They could not believe what they had just seen. It was unimaginable. It was too unimaginable. The 2 of them knew that it was not difficult for them to crush Revered Yan's fire sense with their void refinement realm cultivation base. However, it was just crushing. The ability that Ning Fan displayed was not as simple as crushing. It was as if it was a natural restraint. No. Restraint was not enough to describe the feeling of being devoured. To be more precise, that feeling was like plucking. Yes, plucking. It was like a cultivator plucking a human cauldron. He greedily took everything from the human cauldron, but the human cauldron could not resist him. All of a sudden, the 2 of them thought quickly. Then, they seemed to have thought of something and their faces lit up with joy. Could it be that this Zhou Ming has a way to restrain the flames? If that's the case, I'm afraid he's the only one in the entire Rain world who can obtain that item. The 2 of them exchanged glances and saw through each other's thoughts. That item was located somewhere in the abyssal flame sea. Even a void fragmentation realm expert could not enter that place without permission and retrieve it. In order to retrieve that item, the Rain Palace had deliberately nurtured Revered Yin and provided him with all kinds of preferential treatment for his cultivation. They allowed him to devour the earth vein demonic flame and protected him with the protection of a void refinement realm expert. They allowed him and his disciples to break the law arrogantly. However, even if they want to rely on Revered Yin to retrieve that item, they would at least need to nurture him to the void fragmentation realm. Everything was too uncertain. Who could be sure if Revered Yin could attain the void fragmentation realm after tens of thousands of years? If this Zhou Ming is willing to help the Rain Palace, we don't need Yun Yan's help anymore. We can't let Yun Yan continue to fight against this Zhou Ming. Once Yun Yan offends Zhou Ming completely, it will be difficult for us to recruit him to work for the Rain Palace. The 2 of them took a step forward, preparing to stop the battle between Revered Yin and Ning Fan. No one knew that the 2 void refinement realm experts actually had the thought of befriending Ning Fan. Ning Fan slowly withdrew the vortex on his palm and licked his lips as if it was tasty. Such pure fire sense power had filled the steel of sun and moon with at least 1% of its soul power. He did not continue to kill Revered Yin. By extracting his primordial spirit, touching his magic treasures and devouring his fire sense, Ning Fan had already severely injured him. With Ning Fan's personality, he was naturally unwilling to make enemies. However, it was also unwise to kill Revered Yin in front of tens of thousands of people and offend the Rain Palace. Even if he really wants to kill Revered Yin, it would be better to launch a sneak attack behind everyone's back. Hand over the 3 types of earth vein demonic flames. Ning Fan's cold voice left no room for refusal. Impossible. Don't even think about it. Haha. You can't take away my position. You can't. Revered Yin seemed to have gone mad. He had never felt such strong killing intent towards Ning Fan before. In the past, he only wanted to kill Ning Fan and seize his flames. Now, however, he wanted to kill Ning Fan and eliminate all future troubles. Ning Fan had threatened his position. It was because Ning Fan was the Emperor of Fire, and he was not afraid of fire. If he is still alive, the Rain Palace would no longer need him, and he would lose the full support of the Rain Palace. Void Fire Technique, Samadhi Fire Palm. Revered Yan's eyes were already bloodshot. He must kill Ning Fan before the two Void Refinement Realm experts befriended Ning Fan. Chapter 371. Virtual Fire Art, Samadhi Fire Palm. Yan Zun's eyes were already blood-red. He must kill Ning Fan before the two Void Refinement Realm experts befriend him. With a grab of his 5 fingers, 3 earth vein demonic flames of different colors floated before him. With another grab, 100 grade, 4 spirit flames appeared dazzlingly. Yan Zun clasped his palms together. All of the flames suddenly began to gather, turning into an exquisite jade green palm imprint. Without saying a word, he slammed it at Ning Fan with great force. This fire palm was a void-level Dharma spell, and it had been cultivated by the Flame Lord for thousands of years. The strength of that palm strike was infinitely close to that of an early Void Refinement Realm attack. It was a supreme technique bestowed by the Rain Palace. The power of a single palm turned into a 40,000 zhang palm imprint. In the midst of the deafening rumble, space shattered, and the entire Black Warrior city shook violently. The power of that palm strike was definitely not something an ordinary half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivator could withstand. This palm was beyond everyone's expectations. All the cultivators who were spectating could see that the winner between Ning Fan and Yan Zun had already been decided. Ning Fan was the winner while Yan Zun was the loser. Obviously, Yan Zun had kept his promise and handed over the earth vein demonic flame. Ning Fan had already shown mercy and spared Revered Yan's life. However, Revered Yan didn't know what was good for him. He took advantage of Ning Fan's carelessness and sent out a fire palm of absolute death in an attempt to kill Ning Fan. How despicable and shameless. The two Void Refinement Realm experts were enraged at the same time. Just now they wanted to stop the battle. However, they did not expect that Flame Revered would continue to sneak an attack on Ning Fan after he was defeated. That was a complete disgrace to the Rain Palace. No, face was not a big deal. If they killed Ning Fan, they would lose the chance to make a contribution. Bringing Ning Fan back to the Rain Palace and helping the Divine Sovereign retrieve that item was a great contribution. Yin Yen, stop. If you dare to hurt this person, the God Emperor will punish you heavily. The threats of the two did not enter the ears of the Flame Lord at all. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Even though he did not kill Flame Revered, he was secretly observing his every move. It was certainly impossible for him to be ambushed by a mere Flame Revered. Wrong, he did it wrong again. Was it because he had too many concerns that the Flame Reverend felt that he was weak and easy to bully? This person did not know what was good for him. If he were to let this person go, he would definitely leave behind countless troubles. It's me, I was too merciful. Ning Fan took a step forward. His killing intent immediately rose. This Flame Reverend was very strong. If not for the fact that his steel of sun and moon countered all flames, it would not have been easy for him to defeat the Flame Reverend. Since this person hated Ning Fan to the bone, how could Ning Fan let him go? If they let this person go, would another Gusu be massacred? If the Flame Reverend wanted to kill someone, even Dong Su would not be able to stop him. The Pleasure Devil Island was in danger, the Bai Yao sect was in danger, and with this person's capability, if he found out about Yu Country, Ji He and the other girls would definitely be in danger. Ning Fan did not regret saving Yilan. The only thing he regretted was that he seemed to be a little lenient towards Flame Reverend. So what if I offend two Void Refinement Realm experts? So what if we offend the Rain Palace? If I let this person go, I won't offend him. Since he could not avoid offending the Flame Reverend, he would kill the Flame Reverend and silence him. Sword crystal appear. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the last sword crystal. It contained the full force attack of a mid-void refinement realm sword cultivator. He had already given the early stage sword crystal to Shiran and Wu Yan. This was his last one. Ningfan's defense against flames could be said to be heaven-defying. However, if he wants to kill revered flame instantly, even his Black Tempest soul-splitting technique might not be able to do it. Although the sword crystal was precious, it was the best use for it to kill a potential threat. Break! An extremely dazzling sword light shot out from Ningfan's palm. At the next moment, it turned into 1,000,000 rays of sword light with terrifying auras. The sword crystal was already extremely strong in the first place. After Ningfan fused it with his sword intent, its power was stimulated to its maximum. The flaming palm that was powerful enough to severely injure a half-step void refinement realm was crushed by the 1,000,000 rays of sword light in just a breath's time. Countless rays of sword light instantly drowned Flame Reverend. His face was filled with astonishment. He could not understand why Ningfan actually possessed such a precious sword crystal. A mid-void refinement realm sword crystal. Impossible. Even I find it hard to obtain such a powerful life-saving treasure. Why do you have it? Why? Ah. Amidst a miserable shriek, Flame Reverend's physical body exploded into a mist of blood. Even his primordial spirit was crushed, and he died instantly. All that was left were balls of fire. All of them were the spirit flames that Flame Reverend had devoured when he was still alive. Ningfan flicked his sleeve, and kept them away along with his storage pouch. The entire Black Warrior City was shocked. Ningfan actually dared to kill a revered elder of the Rain Palace in front of everyone. This man is really audacious. Ningfan coldly stared at the two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace. His eyes flashed with ferocious light. He was the one who killed them. So what if he killed them? Why does he need to worry about this matter being exposed and offending the Rain Palace? If I kill these two Void Refinement Realm experts as well as all the cultivators who witnessed this incident on Penglai Immortal Island, those who should be killed, those who should be captured and those who should be silenced, only sparing those who are close to me who will never betray me. As long as I don't let any of them go, who would know that Ningfan would kill Flame Reverend? It's fine if I don't kill them. If I do, I'll eliminate them completely. If I'm afraid of the slightest thing, there's no need for me to continue cultivating as a devil. Hiss. The two Void Refinement Realm experts sucked in a cold breath. If they did not see it wrongly, that mid-Void Refinement Realm sword chi was gentle and treacherous. Both of them recalled a person at the same time. It seemed like the third elder of the Zhou clan was a mid-Void Refinement Realm sword cultivator. In other words, this piece of sword crystal is actually the third elder's sword? Ningfan is also hiding a mid-Void Refinement Realm third elder of the Zhou clan. When they met Ningfan's current gaze, both of them felt a chill in their hearts for no reason. Ningfan's current gaze was as if he wanted to kill them to silence them. It was just too terrifying. Ningfan's current killing intent actually gave the two of them an extremely dangerous feeling. Both of them were stunned. Could it be that the third elder who is hiding in Ningfan's heavenly dwelling has given an order to go all out and kill both of us as well? Yes. That's right. The third elder of the Zhou clan has a strong cultivation base. He is also ruthless. It's fine if he doesn't kill them, but once he does, he will kill his entire clan. This third elder is going to take action against the two of them. Rumor has it that the third elder is about to break through to the late Void Refinement Realm. His sword techniques are so strong that killing early Void Refinement Realm experts is as easy as killing ants. The two of them immediately realized that they must immediately clear their misunderstanding with Ningfan to prevent the two of them from becoming enemies. It was not only because they were afraid of the third elder of the Zhou clan, but also because they needed to befriend Ningfan in order to obtain that item. Even though the two of them were unhappy about Ningfan killing Flame Reverend, there was nothing they could do about it. Flame Reverend was already dead. Both of them had failed in their duties. Even if they returned to the Rain Palace, they would probably be punished. If they can recruit Ningfan to serve the Rain Palace, not only would they not fail in their duties, but they would also make great contributions and be rewarded handsomely by the Divine Sovereign. Ningfan had a natural restraint against flames. Even if he had yet to break through to the Void Fragmentation Realm, he was very confident that he could enter the Sea of Flames and retrieve that item. This matter was the most important matter in the Rain world. Compared to this matter, the life of Flame Reverend was not worth mentioning at all. The two of them exchanged glances with each other and squeezed out a smile on their faces. Inwardly, they were determined to resolve the misunderstanding between them today and befriend Ning Fan. Little friend, are you hurt? It was really dangerous just now. If little friend is hurt, we would really feel guilty. This Yin really doesn't know what's good for him. He had obviously lost the bet, but he still plotted against little friend. He really deserved to die. Even if little friend doesn't attack him, the two of us will kill him. Their words stunned countless cultivators. Originally, everyone thought that the two Void Refinement Realm experts were going to avenge Flame Reverend. However, the development of the matter was far beyond everyone's expectations. What kind of development was this? The revered elder of the Rain Palace was chopped into pieces. Not even his bones were left. Why did these two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace still have the mood to laugh? Or were they laughing at Ning Fan, the murderer? Even though it was not wrong for Ning Fan to kill someone to protect himself, killing a revered elder of the Rain Palace in front of everyone was like slapping the Rain Palace's face. How could the Rain Palace not pursue such a serious matter? This was not in line with the domineering style of the Rain Palace. Oh, seniors, don't you think that I'm guilty of killing someone? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. Obviously, he did not expect that the two Void Refinement Realm experts would actually smile at him with kindness. His plan of killing the two Void Refinement Realm experts on the spot was temporarily postponed. He thought to himself, could it be that Flame Reverend has a grudge against them, and killing them just happens to fulfill their wish? Little friend, you must be joking. The Endless Sea is a lawless place. Killing is not a crime. Besides, Yin was the one who tried to kill him first. Little friend, you were just trying to protect yourself. What crime is there to be guilty of? Little friend, don't worry. No one will blame you for Yin-Yan's death. The two of us can guarantee that. Moreover, little friend is much more useful to the Rain Palace than Yin-Yan. Little friend, you don't have to worry about anything. The two Void Refinement Realm experts chuckled as if Flame Reverend's death was just an insignificant matter. Ning Fan stared at the two of them deeply. From their words, the reason why they changed their attitudes was because he was more useful than Flame Reverend. Inwardly he thought, could it be that the two of them have something to ask of me? Otherwise, given their identity as Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace, it was impossible for them to speak to me in such a soft and gentle tone. So that's how it is. I have value to be used by the Rain Palace. On the other hand, this value could allow Ning Fan to gain a lot of benefits from the Rain Palace. How is the third elder? One of the Void Refinement Realm experts suddenly asked with a smile. Ning Fan remained silent. The more one talks, the more mistakes he would make. He had yet to figure out the real purpose of these two experts. It's fine if little friend doesn't want to say it. The two of us can also guess that old man Zhou Chen must be hiding something in your heavenly dwelling. Zhou Chen. Ning Fan's heart skipped a beat, but his expression did not show it. This name was very unfamiliar. At least, it was not known in the internal sea. Seeing that Ning Fan did not reply, the two of them did not ask any further. Instead, they suddenly asked another question. Little friend, are you willing to join the Rain Palace and become a revered elder? If little friend is interested, the two of us can recommend you to the Rain Palace. His words were too shocking. All the cultivators in the city who heard his words were in an uproar. Since when did the threshold of becoming a revered elder of the Rain Palace become so low? Didn't they reject devil cultivators and demon cultivators from joining the Rain Palace? Didn't they say that those who kill people like flies are not allowed to join the Rain Palace? Why was revered Ming still valued by the Void Refinement Realm, and wanted to recruit him after he killed the revered elder of the Rain Palace? It was unimaginable. It was too unimaginable. Ning Fan pondered over the words of the two Void Refinement Realm experts. He seemed to have some guesses. These two people probably really have something to ask of me. Otherwise, they would not give me such a great benefit. Not everyone could become a revered elder of the Rain Palace. Once you become a revered elder of the Rain Palace, almost no one in the 800 cultivation countries would dare to offend you. Seniors, what request do you have? You can just tell me. If there are enough benefits, it's not like I can't help you. Of course. The two Void Refinement Realm experts' faces were filled with joy. Little friend, do you have time to talk to us in detail? Little friend, don't worry. The two of us can swear on our great heart devil oath that we will never hurt you. We will also not put you in too much danger. As for the benefits, we will definitely satisfy you. Ningfan also did not think that they had the ability to hurt him. After giving the two of them a deep look, Ningfan retracted his killing intent. Without revealing his expression, he landed outside the southern tower and smiled at Bei Xiaoman. Miss Bei, do you mind lending me a place to have a good talk with these two seniors? Of course I mind. Bei Xiaoman glared at Ningfan angrily. She did not know why, but she would get angry when she saw Ningfan smile. She could not bear to see him being complacent. However, when she saw that Ningfan was safe and sound, she felt relieved. Fortunately, it did not cause a bigger dispute. When she saw Ningfan killing Revered Flame just now, she was really scared to death. Offending the Rain Palace was not a joke. Is that so? What does it have to do with me if you mind? Seniors, please enter the tower for a talk. Ningfan walked into the southern tower alone. The two Void Refinement Realm experts exchanged glances. They could not hide the excitement in each other's eyes and followed him into the southern tower. Bei Xiaoman was furious. I have already said that I mind. How could Ningfan do as he pleases and enter the southern tower without permission? Since it has nothing to do with you, why did you ask me? Are you trying to anger me on purpose? The southern tower was her, Bei Xiaoman's territory. Did she allow him to enter? Who does he think he is? Who does he think he is? My lady, please calm down. The matter that Big Brother Zhou is discussing with the two Void Refinement Realm seniors is a matter of life and death. If the discussion fails, I'm not sure if those two seniors will hurt Big Brother Zhou. They have a favor to ask of Big Brother Zhou. That's why they showed mercy and did not pursue the matter of Revered Flame's death. But if Yilan was a little worried. Her cultivation base was not high, but she was an intelligent woman. Of course I know. Otherwise, I'll kick that stinking Zhou Ming out. Bei Xiaoman glared at Yilan. She suddenly felt a little annoyed. Just now, she heard from Lu Qing that the reason why Ningfan killed Revered Flame and his disciple was all because of this Yilan. In the past, Bei Xiaoman had never paid attention to this subordinate of hers, much less looked up to her. Now he was looking at Yilan as if he wanted to eat her up. He felt inexplicably irritated and a little envious. What right did he have to kill someone for Yilan but not for me, Bei Xiaoman? Why did Ningfan treat others so well but bully her everywhere? Don't call him Big Brother Zhou. Remember, you're not allowed to do that. Bei Xiaoman was so angry that she stomped her feet. Then, she ran off to play a game of pricking straw dolls with needles. The one she was going to stab was undoubtedly Ningfan. Lu Qing stared at Bei Xiaoman, who was venting her anger everywhere. He stroked his beard and seemed to have understood something. It seems like the fourth young lady already has a sweetheart. Even though Revered Ming is a cultivator from the lower worlds, his innate potential is really high. He is a good match for young lady. However, Lu Qing suddenly sighed. But young miss has an engagement with the Shimen clan. Should I do something to prevent young miss from getting too close to Revered Ming? Chapter 372. With Ningfan leading the way and the two Void Refinement Realm experts following behind him, they walked all the way to the southern tower. Elder Mo did not dare to stop them at all. He was just a puny third revolution high-grade pillmaster. He could not afford to offend the three great deities in front of him. He did not even dare to stop them from entering the tower. The two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace naturally had respectable statuses. Ningfan's ferocious reputation would go even further from today onwards. The Flame Reverend's strength could be ranked in the top 3 among the Supremes of the Inner Sea. Since Ningfan was able to defeat Revered Flame, he was almost the first person below the Void Refinement Realm in the Endless Sea. Especially when Ningfan passed through the Sea of Flames that was 10,000 li in a relaxed manner, just like the Sovereign of Flames. Elder Hiroshi would never forget that scene for the rest of his life. When they arrived at the main hall of the second floor, Old Mo excused himself respectfully. Ning Fan and the two Void Refinement Realm experts sat on separate seats and began to size each other up. Interesting. The corner of Ning Fan's mouth curved upwards. Killing the Flame Reverend today should have ended in silence. However, no one expected it to end in such a manner. The two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace were both at the early Void Refinement Realm. One of them was dressed in a bright yellow dragon robe. His hair was white and his face was pale. He looked awe-inspiring and dignified. His royal qi was overwhelming. His name was Luo Jun. One of them was dressed in silver armor, with profound patterns. His body was skinny, and his face was old and beardless. He seemed to be a body cultivator, and his name was Chu Hao. The Divine Transformation Realm experts were the revered elders, while the Void Refinement Realm experts were the Palace Masters. These two Void Refinement Realm experts were the Palace Masters of their respective palace branches in the Rain Palace. After briefly introducing each other's identities, the three of them remained silent for a moment. Ning Fan knew that it was time to get down to business. Seniors, please speak your mind. What difficulties do you have that you need my help with? I'm just a soul formation cultivator. I'm really troubled. Haha, since you've asked, I'll naturally tell you the truth. But before that, please allow me to express my gratitude. Luo Jun smiled insincerely. Oh, thank you? Why do you say that? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. I had a descendant who was an elder of the Luoyang sect in the Outer Seas, but a few days ago, he was killed by a group of bandits. According to this old man's investigation, those bandits were stationed on Molan Island, but they were driven away by little friend Luo. This can be considered as helping this Luo's descendants vent their anger. I will naturally thank you, little friend. Luo Jun's expression seemed sincere, as if Ning Fan had really done him a favor. You flatter me. Ning Fan did not express his opinion but was pondering in his mind. Driving away a group of bandits. Was this considered a favor? It didn't count. The reason why Luo Jun thanked Ning Fan with this matter was just to ease the tension between them and create a good atmosphere for the upcoming conversation. Ning Fan really wanted to know what kind of important matter the two Void Refinement Realm experts Luo and Zhu had to discuss with him. Yin Yen and Gu Zhen, this pair of master and disciple, have really brought about their own destruction in today's matter. You can't be blamed. Fellow Chu and I are both well aware of this, so we will naturally not cause any trouble for you. Fellow Chu can rest assured about this. Luo Jun expressed his goodwill again, as if he was trying his best to get closer to Ning Fan. Senior, if you have something to say, you can say it directly. As long as the benefits are good enough. I rarely refuse the requests of others. All right. My little friend is really straightforward. In that case, if I continue to beat around the bush, it would be my fault. It's like this. My rain temple has an item sealed in a certain abyssal flame sea. As for what it is, you don't need to ask. I only have a rough idea. The flames in that sea of flames were all immortal flames. Even the rain sovereign couldn't enter the sea of fire. It's shameful to say this, but the reason why our rain palace nurtured Yin Yen was so that he could enter the sea of fire. Unfortunately, even if he breaks through to the void fragmentation realm, I'm afraid he won't have much of a chance to succeed. As for my little friend, to be honest, even though you were attacked by Yin Yan's fire sense, you weren't injured in the slightest. Seeing this old man guessed that if anyone else in the rain celestial realm could enter the sea of celestial flames, it would be little friend. Immortal flame? Luo Jun's explanation surprised Ning Fan. He didn't expect that the Rain Palace would fancy his ability to ignore fire attacks. The reason why he could ignore the damage of the flames was because of the steel of sun and moon in the yin-yang locket. He dared not say about the higher grade flames, but at least the flames of the earth vein demonic fire rank couldn't hurt him. He had some confidence in defending himself against a 6th or 7th grade spiritual fire. As for the immortal flame, grade 5 spirit fire was known as the earth vein demon fire. 6th and 7th grade spirit fires were known as virtual fires. Higher grade immortal flames could only be refined and used by immortals. Ning Fan frowned. He didn't have the confidence to survive after entering the immortal flame. Fellow Taoist, you don't have to be afraid. Even though the abyss is filled with immortal flames, The Rain Sovereign has been using the sovereign rain to weaken the flames for countless years. The power of the immortal flames has been greatly reduced. Moreover, the moon has its ups and downs, the tides have their ups and downs. The Sea of Flames also has its ups and downs. As long as you enter when the flames are at their weakest, I'm afraid that the power of the flames will only be equivalent to the immortal void flame. With your indestructible fire physique, and the secret treasures of my rain palace, you won't have to be afraid. Ningfan didn't say much and silently pondered over Luo Jun's words. The indestructible fire physique that Luo Jun mentioned was a physique that was born with fire. Once this physique was developed to a certain level, the cultivator wouldn't be afraid of any flames below the immortal flame. It seemed like Luo Jun and the others thought that Ningfan had the indestructible fire physique, because he had the indestructible fire physique. As long as one had enough money, everyone could cultivate in the vein-opening realm. It seemed fair, but in reality it was unfair. Cultivators with physiques would naturally be one step ahead of others. Cultivators with fiend god cultivation methods would naturally be one step ahead of others. Ningfan's greatest luck in this life was reuniting with Jihe and being given the yin-yang locket by her. However, only Ningfan knew that he actually did not have any special physique. He would not explain it. It was good that he was treated as the indestructible fire physique. After all, one's physique couldn't be snatched away. If others find out that he relied on the yin-yang locket to restrain the flames, there would certainly be people who would snatch his treasure at all costs. If that abyssal flame is only at the immortal void realm, I can also go there and give it a try. However, what benefits would I get from taking such a huge risk? I won't leave the endless sea in a short period of time. If the two seniors ask me to take action now, it will be difficult for me. Besides, there's one more thing that I'm worried about the most. How can the two seniors guarantee that I won't be silenced after I complete the request of the Rain Palace? Ningfan frowned. In this world, there were too many cases where people would turn their backs on someone. It wasn't strange to burn the bridge after crossing the river, and get rid of the donkey after it has outlived its usefulness. Even if the two Void Refinement Realm experts in front of him were humble when asking for help, who could guarantee that they wouldn't turn their backs on him as quickly as flipping a book once the request is completed? For the Divine Sovereign of the Rain World to go through so much trouble to obtain that item, even if he doesn't know what it is, it probably involves a lot of secrets. If this secret is too important, he would most likely be killed after the matter is over. Facing Ningfan's questioning, Chu Hao let out a cold humph. He was already somewhat dissatisfied. After all, he was the lord of the Void Refinement Realm. It was already rare for him to beg Ningfan in such a humble manner. Thus, he was already quite dissatisfied with Ningfan's various questions. If it wasn't because the matter of entering that abyssal flame was too important, Chu Hao really wanted to capture Ningfan and plant a mental seal on him, forcing him to return to the Rain Palace with him. Fellow Taoist Chu, don't offend Zhou Chun. As soon as Luo Jun saw that Chu Hao was about to lose his temper, he quickly sent a telepathic message to remind him. The reason why the two of them did not directly use force against Ningfan was because the matter was of great importance, and they did not want to cause unnecessary trouble. Secondly, they misunderstood that Ningfan was protected by the third elder of the Zhou family, Zhou Chen. As soon as Luo Jun reminded him, Chu Hao's expression immediately changed. He let out two dry chuckles unnaturally. Even though they were both at the Void Refinement Realm, Zhou Chen was a Void Inquiry Stage expert, and he was almost invincible among Void Inquiry Stage experts. As for Luo and Chu Hao, they were just at the Void Glimpse stage. When he thought of Zhou Chen's strength, how would he dare to attack Ningfan? Since Chu Hao was the bad cop, Luo Jun was the good cop. He chuckled and spoke in a neither hurried nor slow manner. This matter is of great importance. It's normal for little friend to have some concerns. I can help you dispel each of your concerns. I'd like to hear the details. I've already guessed little friend's identity. You must have a deep relationship with Thunder Sovereign Buzhou. Besides, you also have the third elder to protect you when you go out. With such an identity, even my Rain Palace wouldn't dare to kill you after you've outlived your usefulness. In other words, if it wasn't for Ningfan's identity, The Rain Palace would most likely do such a thing. Ning Fan did not express his opinion. He had no idea who the third elder was and who Zhou Chun was. Besides, they were not members of the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea. However, if this misunderstanding of his identity could keep him safe, he did not mind letting the two old men continue to misunderstand him. As for little friend's worries about the time conflict, you don't have to worry about it. According to the Rain Sovereign's divination, the next time the Sea of Fire is at its weakest is still several decades away. It will at least be after the Middle State Pill Gathering. Before that, little friend will have enough time to do your own things. If that's the case, time won't be a problem. As long as the benefits are enough, I'm willing to agree to this matter. Ning Fan pondered for a moment and answered. Benefits? With the resources of my Rain Palace, is it still not enough to satisfy little friend's appetite? After you killed Yin Yan, you already have 7 types of earth vein demonic flames, right? My Rain Palace still has 3 types of demonic flames. If little friend comes to the middle state in the future, you can naturally get them. Luo Jun began to tempt Ning Fan with benefits. He had gradually understood that Ning Fan was an extremely materialistic person. Instead of befriending him, it was better to give him benefits directly. Other than the 3 types of earth vein demonic flames, there are also immortal jades, pills, cultivation methods, secret techniques, and even cauldrons. As long as little friend comes to the middle state, we will certainly satisfy you as long as you say the word. Other than these, little friend also has a chance to join the Rain Palace and become a revered elder. I won't hide this from you. With your evil identity and notorious reputation, it's impossible for you to join the Rain Palace. This is your only chance to join the Rain Palace. Once you join the Rain Palace, your clansmen will be able to hang the flag of the Rain Palace legitimately. Fellow Taoists should know what this means. Luo Jun stopped talking and gave Ning Fan enough time to consider. He had already given him benefits. Immortal jades and pills were only for a lifetime. Joining the Rain Palace would bring benefits for thousands of generations. This meant that Ning Fan's descendants could obtain superior cultivation conditions and special privileges. Mortals valued power. Low-level cultivators did not need power. However, when one's cultivation base has reached Luo Jun's and Ning Fan's level, power became important again. To be able to cultivate to this level, one must have accumulated a large amount of cultivation resources. If you don't have an identity, what right do you have to obtain these resources? The 800 cultivation countries did not allow large-scale killings. It would be difficult for you to plunder everywhere like the Star Sea and the Endless Sea. Ning Fan was also tempted. He might only be able to obtain material benefits when he goes to the Rain Palace in the future. As for the title of a revered elder, Ning Fan was confident that as long as he says the word, he would become a revered elder of the Rain Palace from today onwards. He was just like a bandit turning into a soldier. With this title, his loved ones would be very safe. This was what Ning Fan was most tempted by. His lovers were all over the Rain world. It was impossible for him to protect them all. However, if he becomes a revered elder of the Rain Palace, no one would dare to mess with his women anymore. His force would also develop steadily. Other than that, Ning Fan also had another thing, which was the immortal flames in the abyss. Immortal flames rarely remained in the lower world. If he enters the Sea of Flames and takes the opportunity to devour the immortal flames, by then, he would no longer be afraid of Moksha Sovereign. I agree. However, I hope to obtain the title of a revered elder immediately instead of waiting for the Rain Sovereign's approval. Ning Fan smiled. That's impossible. With your identity. Chu Hao was dissatisfied. However, Luo Jun gave him a look and he stopped talking. As long as you make a great heart devil oath to keep what I told you a secret and swear not to violate this agreement, I can make the decision and give you the title of a revered elder of the Equal Heaven Palace. Great Heaven Palace. I can guarantee that I won't leak this matter, but I don't have the habit of making an oath. Zhou Ming, you've crossed the line. Chu Hao was enraged. Luo Jun stopped him again. However, this time, even Luo Jun was a little unhappy. I'm in the Rain world. If I violate the oath, the Rain Palace will naturally eliminate me. Do you think I can run away? Besides, Senior Luo also didn't make an oath. You can certainly guarantee that I won't die. It's only fair that both of us haven't made an oath, Ning Fan said without changing his expression. No matter how much Luo Jun said, it was just a one-sided statement. Other than the title of a revered elder, could he guarantee anything else? If the Rain Sovereign insisted on killing Ning Fan, could he protect him? If Ning Fan took a fancy to a top-grade cultivation method of the Rain Palace, would Luo Jun be qualified to give it to him? Ning Fan was just telling the truth. You're right. Fellow Taoist Chu and I will immediately return to the Rain Palace and report this to the Rain Sovereign to fight for some benefits for you. I'm also willing to believe that you won't dare to betray the Rain Palace. Luo Jun nodded his head. He did not think that Ning Fan had the courage to challenge the Rain Palace. Even Thunder Sovereign Buzhou had to compromise with the Rain Palace. How would a mere divine transformation realm cultivator dare to betray them? Oh, if that's the case, the two of you are going to leave now? That's right. However, you don't have to worry. Before you leave, I will send a message to all the forces through my flying sword. From today onwards, you're a revered elder of the Rain Palace. I wonder how many people will be envious of your identity. As soon as Luo Jun and Chu finished speaking, they sent out countless message-transmitting flying swords. They must have informed many forces. After exchanging some pleasantries, the two of them left. As for the matter of revered Flame being killed, it was really written off. Luo Jun announced to the outside world that the reason why Ning Fan was promoted to a revered elder was because he had helped the Rain Palace remove the tumor of revered Flame. Old Emo was dumbfounded. When he heard that Ning Fan had killed revered Flame and Wuzue, and was promoted to a revered elder of the Rain Palace, he felt that he must be dreaming. Who could kill a revered elder of the Rain Palace and still be innocent? Who could negotiate with the Lord of the Rain Palace when he was just at the divine transformation realm? The 7 venerated beings of the internal sea could not do it. But Ning Fan did it. Humph. Stinky Zhou, you're really a lucky bastard. An angry and discordant voice came from outside the main hall. Together with her was a lady who wore a worried expression. It was Bei Xiaoman and Yilan. Give Grandpa Stone Warrior back to me. Otherwise. Bei Xiaoman glared at Ning Fan angrily. When she saw Ning Fan's smile, her heart skipped a beat. Otherwise what? Ning Fan looked at Bei Xiaoman with great interest. It turns out that this unruly girl is really adorable. Chapter 373. Bei Xiaoman was speechless. She really wanted to find a reason to threaten Ning Fan. She really wanted to take back her Grandpa Stone Warrior and her Yuan Yao Jade. She really wanted to defeat Ning Fan and never see his smug smile again. When she broke through to the divine transformation realm, she once thought that she could defeat Ning Fan and teach him a good lesson. However, the truth was that Ning Fan's strength had become much stronger than her after 20 years. When they first met, she was at the half-step divine transformation realm while Ning Fan was just a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. She did not put him in her eyes at all. After he formed his nascent soul, he defeated her by relying on his yin-yang transformation and Bei Xiaoman's bad temper. She was very unhappy about it. Her Grandpa Stone Warrior was taken away and her token of love, the Yuan Yao Jade, was taken away. Bei Xiaoman once thought that she must hate Ning Fan to the core. However, when she ascended to the divine transformation realm and ascended to the Sea of Clouds, she could not help but praise Ning Fan when she saw her elder sister and mother being praised by other geniuses. She thought that she hated Ning Fan to the core, and wished that he would be killed by revered Flame. However, when Ning Fan was really in danger, she felt very nervous and wanted to help him for some reason. Why is it like this? Bei Xiaoman had never thought about it. However, when she saw Ning Fan's proud smile, her mind went blank and her heart skipped a beat. This smile is really beautiful. However, why does the owner of this smile always bully me? Why would the owner of this smile rather help a stranger kill someone than treat me well? Bei Xiaoman's expression turned gloomy. Her heart felt a little sour. Please return Grandpa Stone Warrior to me. Otherwise, I will never forgive you. Never. As soon as he said that, Bei Xiaoman was stunned. What right did she have to not forgive Ningfan? Who was she to him? Ningfan was also stunned. He initially thought that Bei Xiaoman would threaten him to kill him. He never thought that the way she threatened him was to not forgive him. He sighed inwardly. Ningfan did not have any desire to bully such a Bei Xiaoman. He patted his storage pouch and took out a stone puppet. He blew on it, and it immediately grew bigger, turning into Stone Warrior, whom he had not seen for a long time. I have promised Stone Warrior that I will let him return to the Lost World Palace one day. Today, I will return him to him. Thump. Bei Xiaoman felt as if a pebble had been thrown into the lake of her heart. Ripples started to form in her heart. When she said that she would not forgive Ningfan, it was just an inexplicable statement. She never expected that her words would be able to move Ningfan. She also did not think that the current Ningfan, who was one of the 8 venerated beings of the Internal Sea, a revered elder of the Rain Palace, and someone who had connections with both the underworld and the underworld, would care about whether she would forgive him or not. However, Ningfan returned the Stone Warrior to her with just a few words. This is just too unreasonable. This isn't a dream, right? Bei Xiaoman's face turned red, and she did not know what to do. Pinch me and you'll know. Ningfan casually pinched Bei Xiaoman's face, and the corners of his lips curled upwards. Does it hurt? If it hurts, then it's not a dream. It hurts? Zhou, you've gone too far. You. Bei Xiaoman was infuriated once again. The good impression she had towards Ningfan just now immediately vanished into thin air. She stomped her feet angrily and ran out of the southern tower, while covering her small face, which had turned red from Ningfan's pinch. Inside the southern tower, there were only Lu Qing, Shibing, and Yilan. Everyone, including Shibing, was speechless. Ningfan really dared to pinch her. That's the 4th mistress of the northern sky. Looking at Bei Xiaoman's back, which was as if she was running away, Ningfan's eyes darkened. He suddenly realized that bullying this little girl was really fun. Big brother Zhou, thank you. If it wasn't for you, Yilan would have already. Yilan's words broke the silence. You're welcome. It's just a small matter. After not seeing you for 20 years, Miss Yilan has already broken through to the Gold Core realm. Your aptitude is really extraordinary. After hearing Ningfan's compliment, Yilan's face turned red. The reason why she could break through to the Gold Core realm within 20 years was naturally because of the power of the Lost World Tower. Even so, it was enough to show that her aptitude was extraordinary. It was not that there were no people who praised her. In fact, there were a lot of people who praised her. There were also quite a number of people who pursued her. However, those praises never made her smile a little. Ningfan's compliment, on the other hand, made her very happy. She felt that her 20 years of hard cultivation was not in vain. Miss Yilan doesn't look too good. Ningfan's gaze swept across Yilan's face. The latter's face was slightly pale, as if she was hurt by Gu Zhen's finger attack. There was a blood stain on her face, which was caused by a broken porcelain cup. He wrapped his fingertip with a trace of black star force and wiped it across Yilan's face. In an instant, the wound on her face was healed without leaving a scar. Here are some pills and Dao fruits. They are enough to help you stabilize your Gold Core realm cultivation base, and even help you break through to the mid or late Gold Core realm. With your aptitude, it shouldn't be difficult for you to break through to the nascent soul realm in this lifetime. You might even have a chance to attain the divine transformation realm. The elders in your clan are really short-sighted. I believe they will regret giving you to Guzhen when you attain the divine transformation realm thousands of years later. Ningfan praised her generously and passed a storage pouch to Yilan. After being praised by Ningfan again, Yilan felt both shy and happy. She scanned the storage pouch with her spirit sense, and her face was filled with astonishment. There are so many pills, and there are even Gold Core realm Dao fruits. These are too precious. Yilan can't accept them. Just accept them. Ningfan waved his hand. A few bottles of Third Revolution pills and a few Gold Core realm Dao fruits were really nothing to Ningfan, who had nearly 100,000 Gold Core realm Dao fruits. Big brother Zhou, Yilan can't repay such a heavy gift. It's all right. Take the pills and rest first. Don't leave any hidden injuries. I still have some things to discuss with fellow Taoist Lu Qing and fellow Taoist Stone Warrior. Yilan nodded her head obediently. She knew old ancestor Lu Qing. He was the divine transformation realm expert who was in charge of the Lost World Palace. She did not know old ancestor Stone Warrior, but she had heard some rumors about him. These divine transformation realm old ancestors were existences that she could not touch with her current status. However, because of Ning Fan, she could stand together with them. This feeling was really like a dream. Yilan returned to her residence to rest. However, she kept thinking about Ning Fan's words. She had never believed that she had any hope of attaining the nascent soul, or divine transformation realm. However, Ning Fan had praised her aptitude and she suddenly had confidence in herself. Yes, I must work hard. If I break through to the divine transformation realm one day and recommend myself to Ning Fan again, I wonder if he would still reject me. What am I thinking? Yilan patted her red face angrily. Without Bei Xiaoman and Yilan, the atmosphere in the southern tower became quiet again. Ning Fan's eyes swept across Lu Qing and Stone Warrior with interest. At this moment, Lu Qing's face was filled with astonishment while Stone Warrior's face was filled with surprise. While Ning Fan was chatting with Bei Xiaoman and Yilan, the two of them also had a brief conversation. Lu Qing was astonished because he found out that Stone Warrior had not been by his mistress's side for the past 20 years. It was really too scary. He, Lu Qing, had no idea when Stone Warrior had been taken away. Stone Warrior was astonished because he found out that Ning Fan had killed Revered Flame and obtained the title of Revered Elder. Every time Ning Fan showed his face, he would give him a greater surprise. Stone Warrior suddenly realized that the current Ning Fan was already standing at the peak of the known strength of the Endless Sea. Fellow Taoist, sure, I have already sent you back to the Lost World Palace. Don't you have anything to say? Ning Fan hinted. Cough. Sorry for my rudeness. Only then did Stone Warrior return to his senses. After 20 years, he was finally released by Ning Fan. He knew that what Ning Fan wanted to hear from him was not gratitude, but a promise. Stone Warrior had been by Ning Fan's side for too long. He knew a lot of secrets, especially the heaven-fixing morning technique. If that technique were to be leaked, countless true immortals in the four heavens immortal worlds would hunt Ning Fan down. I'm willing to swear to revered Ming that I will never tell anyone about what happened in the past 20 years. If I break this oath. Before Stone Warrior could finish his words, Ning Fan interrupted him. Enough. You don't have to swear to your death. You don't care about death at all. I believe you. After 20 years of living together, Ning Fan had a deep understanding of Stone Warrior. He was a man who was not afraid of death. He would not speak carelessly. If he said that he would not leak the secret, he would rather die than do so. Protect Bei Xiaoman carefully in the future. Don't let her cause any more trouble. Now that I have a close relationship with the Lost World Palace, I should at least protect Bei Xiaoman for them. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with reminiscence as he thought of a woman who had acted preposterously several times. Her? Stone Warrior naturally did not know who the woman Ning Fan mentioned was. Ignoring Stone Warrior's doubt, Ning Fan turned to Lu Qing and said, Fellow Taoist Lu, I need a lot of spiritual herbs that can nourish one's primordial spirit during my trip to the Lost World Palace. I wonder if I can have some? What? Fellow Taoist Zhou's primordial spirit is injured. Both Lu Qing and Stone Warrior were shocked. Could it be that Ning Fan annihilated Revered Flame with serious injuries? How could he be so strong? I have some injuries. Can I have some medicinal herbs? Ning Fan did not expose Luoyu's existence. Of course. Fellow Taoist is the Tower Lord of the Lost World Palace, the East, the West and the North Towers. Of course, you can take the medicinal herbs. Lu Qing said straightforwardly. Compared to recruiting Ning Fan for the Lost World Palace, a mere spiritual herb was nothing. Oh. Fellow Taoist sure is straightforward. This time, I came to the Lost World Palace because I want to enter the Lost World Tower to cultivate. May I know what the fee is if I want to enter the 7th floor of the tower? The 7th floor. Lu Qing was stunned. He then explained. With fellow Taoist divine transformation realm strength, you can only enter the 5th floor at most. Even though the Lost World Palace treats pill refinement masters generously, we can only help 5th Revolution pill refinement masters who have yet to reach the divine transformation realm to enter the 5th floor. The higher floors have strict restrictions on one's cultivation base. I understand. Ningfan did not insist on entering the 7th floor. This time, he only wanted to achieve the divine transformation realm with his magic power. With the experience of achieving the divine transformation realm twice, it would be a piece of cake for him to achieve the divine transformation realm for the 3rd time, and it would not take him too long. The time flow on the 5th floor was 132 times faster than the outside world, while the 7th floor was 128 times faster than the outside world. The 5th floor and the 7th floor would only take him a year and a half. There was not much difference between them. By the way, before my mistress left in anger, she told me that if fellow Taoist Zhou wants to cultivate in the Lost World Tower, you don't have to pay for it. Everything will be recorded in her account. Oh, Bei Xiaoman treats me so well, but she doesn't have to pay for it. Ningfan was surprised. My mistress asked me to tell you. What I'm about to say is her original words. It's not my intention. Lu Qing smiled awkwardly and imitated Bei Xiaoman's tone. Stinky Zhou. Don't worry. You don't have to pay to cultivate in the Lost World Tower. You can just treat it as my mistress. Ha! Ningfan shook his head and laughed. This Bei Xiaoman actually wants to keep me as her mistress. Fellow Taoist, please don't be angry. My mistress just said those words out of anger. Angry? Why should I be angry? Becoming Bei Xiaoman's mistress? Very good. Then, I can take whatever I want from the Lost World Palace, right? The corner of Ningfan's mouth curled upwards. He did not care about his reputation at all. Becoming Bei Xiaoman's mistress, huh? Very good. Now, I have an excuse to empty the Lost World Palace's storehouse. Improving my pill refinement technique requires a large amount of medicinal ingredients. It's too expensive. I'll burn the Lost World Palace's money first. A day later, Ningfan had almost emptied the spiritual herb storage of the 4 pill towers of the Lost World Palace. On the 2nd day, Ningfan officially entered the tower for seclusion. On the top of the southern tower, Bei Xiaoman was lazily munching on melon seeds while listening to the reports from her maidservants. She felt very proud of herself. According to the reports from the maidservants, Ningfan actually did not reject her identity as her mistress. Humph! Aren't you great devil Lord Zhou? Very proud and arrogant? In the end, you're still my mistress. Bei Xiaoman let out a soft humph. Her eyes were filled with joy. Now Ningfan had become her follower, and she could order him around at will. She did not seem to realize what it meant to be a mistress. My lady, young Master Zhou. He has taken away almost all the spiritual herbs above 1,000 years old in the 4 pill towers. Many guest pill refinement masters can't use them even if they want to concoct pills. What did you say? Bei Xiaoman stopped munching on the melon seeds. She realized that she had suffered a huge loss. The spiritual herbs in the 4 pill towers were at least worth billions of immortal jade. Yet they were all taken away just like that? Those spiritual herbs were enough to supply hundreds of 3rd Revolution and tens of 4th Revolution cultivators to concoct pills. Zhou Ming, you're a bully. You're shameless. Bei Xiaoman disregarded everything and rushed out of the southern tower. She ran to the center of the silver tower and pointed at it while cursing. If she knew that Ningfan was going to take away all the spiritual herbs in her possession, she would not have said anything about being his mistress. Revenge. She must take revenge on him. That's right. Didn't I already keep him as my mistress? If that's the case, I will teach him a good lesson on the day he walks out of the Lost World Tower. I will let him know who is the follower and who is the master. Speaking of which, what do I need to do after keeping Zhou Ming as my mistress? Do I need him to massage my legs or my shoulders? She had yet to realize that she would have to sacrifice her chastity to keep him as her mistress. On the 5th floor of the Lost World Tower, Ningfan stood between the mountains and the rivers. He was not in a hurry to open up his immortal cave. He raised his head and looked at the sky thoughtfully. The Lost World Tower in the lower world was a silver tower. There were only 7 floors which corresponded to the 7 realms of the cultivation world. The 5th floor was still fine, but the 6th and 7th floors had a strict restriction on one's cultivation base. Only divine transformation realm cultivators could enter. Each floor had countless independent spaces for people to cultivate in. Currently, Ning Fan was on the 5th floor. Below the spatial barrier was the 4th floor. Above the spatial barrier above his head was the 6th floor. To ordinary cultivators without void refinement realm cultivation base, they would definitely not be able to enter the 6th floor. However, was Ning Fan an ordinary cultivator? His body swayed, and at the next moment, he appeared at the peak of the sky. A trace of golden-purple mist lingered in the air and brushed against the spatial barrier. Immediately, a sizzling sound was heard, and the spatial barrier was eroding at a slow speed. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, a gap appeared in the spatial barrier. Ning Fan then leaped into the 6th floor. The world of the 6th floor was not filled with green mountains and clear waters, but a starry sky. The place where Ning Fan was standing right now was a star with a radius of 100,000 li. The power of the void around Ning Fan tilted down, as if it was going to kill him. At the same time, a trace of void power rose around his body. Ning Fan was a cultivator who had attained the void inquiry stage after all. Thus, he was naturally not afraid of this level of void power. Sensing that the time in this place was slowed down by 64 times, Ning Fan seemed to have understood something. No wonder Lu Qing said that one can't enter the 6th and 7th floors unless their cultivation base is strong enough. It turns out that the 6th and 7th floors are fundamentally different from the 5th floor. I wonder if my void power can withstand the void of the 7th floor. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. He stepped on the star and rose into the air. When he reached the peak of the void, he pointed at the mist again and broke a gap, entering the 7th floor. In the 7th floor, the flow of time was one of 128 times faster than the outside world. The void power in this place gave Ning Fan an extremely dangerous feeling. Even a void refinement realm cultivator would not be able to withstand it. Moreover, in this level of void power, teleportation techniques would not be able to cover any distance at all. Without any hesitation, Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out 2 magic treasures. One of them was the Eastern Ocean Bell. When this bell was suspended above Ning Fan's head, no void power could harm it. The other one was the Star Compass. This compass was given to him by the Black Tortoise Planet's Palm Tablet Immortal Emperor. It was a supreme treasure for cultivators to travel through the void. From Ning Fan's current point of view, the void was probably also divided into different levels. Divine Transformation Realm cultivators might not necessarily die if they entered the slightly weaker void, and Void Refinement Realm cultivators could also travel through it with ease. However, in places where the void power was stronger, those below the Void Fragmentation Realm would definitely die. Teleportation techniques could not be used to fly in this place. Only the Star Compass could do that. Ning Fan took out the Star Compass. The palm-sized compass immediately turned into a 10,000 zhang large silver continent. Ning Fan leaped onto the continent and made a hand seal. Then the continent moved through the void at an unbelievable speed. Its speed was even faster than ordinary Void Refinement Realm cultivators. It was at least a mid-Void Refinement Realm cultivator. This Star Compass is indeed a good item. Ning Fan traveled through the void of the 7th floor and found a star that had a radius of 1 million li and landed on it. The uneven ground did not have any signs of life. However, Ning Fan did not mind it at all. The sword chi at the tip of his finger swayed, and an underground cave dwelling was opened up beneath his feet. Let's cultivate here. Ning Fan walked into the underground cave. At the moment when he completely entered the cave dwelling, he suddenly raised his head with a strange expression. The purple star in his left eye flashed, and he looked at the sky with a strange expression. Why do I feel like there's an 8th floor in this Lost World tower? Is it an illusion? Chapter 374. Inside the Star Cave dwelling, Ning Fan once again returned to his solitary life. A year in the outside world was equivalent to 128 years in this place. What Ning Fan requested from Lu Qing was to stay in the Lost World Tower for a year. In other words, he still needed to stay in this place for another 128 years. The Lost World Tower did not allow anyone to enter, so there were fewer noises around them. 5,884 units of magic power, 71,440 units of demonic energy, 83,470 units of demonic energy. The shortcoming of magic power must be made up for. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a large number of profound primordial pills. Profound Essence Pill was concocted for peak stage nascent soul cultivators to increase their magic power. It was a peak stage 4th revolution pill, and one pill could increase one's magic power by 1 unit. He only had 1290 Profound Essence Pills in his possession. The market price of a Profound Essence Pill should be around 100,000 Immortal Jade. In just 10 days, Ning Fan consumed and refined all of the pills that were worth more than 100 million Immortal Jade. His magic power was 6,940 units. And it was 234 units less than expected. This was naturally because he had consumed too many elixirs, and the medicinal effects were getting weaker. Ning Fan did not care about it at all. He had plundered countless spiritual herbs from the Sea of Stars, and taken away all of Bei Xiaoman's belongings openly. The 1,000-years-old spiritual herbs he had were more than enough to concoct a few thousand profound primordial pills. Inside the Immortal's cave, Ning Fan clenched his 5 fingers. His body shone with green light, and a massive rain cauldron was condensed in front of him with the divine intent of rain. His pill refinement technique was already at the intermediate grade 5 revolution, and his flame was a fusion of 9 types of heavenly frost and earthly fire. He only needed 3 days to refine a cauldron of Xianyuan pills, and he could refine 10 pills in one cauldron. One should know that this was a peak 4th revolution pill. Even a low-grade 5th revolution pill refinement master would not dare to guarantee success in every cauldron. Moreover, they could only refine 1 pill at most. Ning Fan had a strong pill refinement mastery. His spirit sense perception and control over fire were also outstanding. Besides, his luck was the strongest purple color. With his strength and luck, if he still failed to refine the Mystic Essence Pill, he would really have to find a piece of tofu to kill himself. If he refined 100 pills in a month, it would be 1,200 pills in a year. As time went by, Ning Fan could even refine 13 to 14 Profound Essence Pills in a single cauldron. 6 years later, Ning Fan had concocted 8,000 Profound Essence Pills, and he no longer concocted this pill. So many elixirs were enough to create a semi-god realm cultivator. Even a peak 4th revolution pill refinement master would not have the wealth to concoct 8,000 peak 4th revolution pills. Even if one had sufficient wealth, one could only refine 1 Profound Essence Pill after 4 cycles and half a month, and there was no guarantee of success. If he wanted to refine 8,000 Profound Essence Pills, he would need at least 300 years even if he did not sleep or rest. 6 years of hard work was equivalent to 300 years of cultivation for ordinary pill refinement masters. However, Ning Fan helplessly realized that the improvement of his pill refinement mastery was not obvious at all. His mid-grade 5th revolution medicine soul was already dark green in color. At this moment, about 1% of the soul light in Ning Fan's medicine soul had darkened. If Ning Fan is able to use all of the remaining soul light on his body, he would be able to break through to the high-grade 5th revolution pill refinement realm. Putting aside his pill refinement mastery for the time being, with 8,000 profound primordial pills, Ning Fan temporarily had to live a life of munching on beans for 4 whole months. One had to admit that Ning Fan's resistance to the profound primordial pill was getting stronger and stronger. At first, 1,000 Mystic Essence Pills could increase one's magic power by 650 units. The next 1,000 Mystic Essence Pills only increased by 520 units. Later on, 1,000 Mystic Essence Pills could only increase his magic power by 450 units. 420 units, 330 units, 290 units, and then 240 units. In the end, 1,000 Mystic Essence Pills could only increase Ning Fan's magic power by 50 units. It was because consuming Mystic Essence Pills was almost completely useless in the end. Ning Fan shook his head with a bitter smile. He was probably the first person in the Rain world who had consumed Mystic Essence pills until they were completely ineffective. 8,000 Mystic Essence pills increased his magic power by 2,950 units. At least, Ningfan's magic power had reached 9,890 units. During the past 4 months, after consuming Mystic Essence pills, Ningfan's magic power had also become weak. He no longer consumed any pills. Instead, he took out countless spirit flames to refine and devour them. A small portion of these spirit flames were given to him by the cultivators of the external endless sea. The rest of them were obtained from Flame Reverend. There were nearly 1,000 third-grade spirit flames, 200 fourth-grade spirit flames and 3 earth vein demonic flames. The 3 types of earth vein demonic flames were respectively the corrosive poison flame, which was ranked 12th, the profound thunder flame, which was ranked 9th, and the 7 rainbow flame, which was ranked 4th. Ningfan's eyes were burning with passion as he looked at the balls of flames floating in front of him. Refining these flames could not only increase the destructive power of his fire technique, but also increase the speed of pill refinement. Besides, it could also replenish the fire power of the steel soul in the steel of sun and moon during the refining process. Swallow. Black flames swirled around Ningfan's body. He opened his mouth and inhaled. Clusters of floating spiritual flames were all sucked into his mouth. These flames were almost all the reserves of the cultivators in the outer endless sea. The refinement took a total of 9 months. 9 months later, Ningfan's magic power forcefully broke through the bottleneck of the divine transformation realm with the help of the fire attribute and broke through to 14,200 units. In his dantian, the demon soul slowly turned into a primordial spirit. The primordial spirit was as big as a palm, but it had the same appearance as him. Its small face was also filled with joy. Dermic powers, soul formation. The moment he succeeded in becoming a soul formation cultivator, silver fire fell from the sky. It was the heavenly tribulation after becoming a soul formation cultivator. The fire tribulation. Ningfan let out a sigh. It seemed like he did not have the blood lightning of the heavenly tribulation to refine his lightning whip anymore. However, he could still use it to replenish the firepower of his steel of sun and moon. Without hesitation, he opened his mouth and swallowed the silver flames of the heavenly tribulation. All of them were devoured by the steel of sun and moon while he remained unscathed. Ningfan exhaled a mouthful of murky qi and rose to his feet. His aura swept across the area, causing the entire cave to collapse. Black flames were burning around his body. These black flames gave off a dangerous qi. There were 5 types of heavenly frost cold qi, and 7 types of earth vein demonic flames. Even though he did not collect 12 types of ice and fire respectively, he finally managed to gather 12 types of fire and ice together. At this moment, the black flames leaping on his palm gave Ningfan an extremely dangerous feeling. The grade of this flame was at least comparable to a 7th grade immortal void flame. Only void fragmentation realm fire cultivators could control this flame. Due to the limitation of Ningfan's cultivation realm, he could not fully unleash the power of this flame. However, by relying on the power of this flame, he could totally force void glimpse stage-old monsters to retreat when he activates it. This flame seemed to be his 4th trump card other than the Black Tempest spirit splitting technique, Wind Mist and Wind Snow. It could lightly injure a void refinement realm cultivator, or severely injure a half-step void refinement realm cultivator. It could even instantly kill a peak divine transformation realm cultivator. Moreover, after Ningfan devoured so many flames, the soul of the steel of sun and moon in the profound Yin world had already been replenished to 1/3 of its original capacity. Huff Ningfan gently exhaled a mouthful of murky qi and dispersed the flames on his body. His divine demon and devil power had all broken through to the divine transformation realm at the same time. His strength had increased tremendously and his qi had also become weak. After refining a large amount of pills, he managed to condense his qi again after exhausting it over and over again. He no longer concocted 4th revolution pills. Instead, he concocted 5th revolution pills. 5th revolution pills were extremely different from 4th revolution pills. The difficulty of concocting 5th revolution pills was increased, and the medicinal efficacy of the pills was also greatly increased. With Ning Fan's current pill concoction technique and the black flames, he still needed half a month to concoct a low-grade 5th revolution pill. As for mid-grade 5th revolution pills, he would need at least 3 months to concoct them. Moreover, he could not guarantee the success rate. For 10 whole years, Ning Fan had been concocting a type of low-grade 5th revolution pill, called spirit consolidating pill. As the name suggested, the effect of the spirit consolidating pill was to consolidate one's primordial spirit. Its main ingredients were the moistening heartgrass, conforming spirit leaves and round harmony ganoderma, which could nourish one's primordial spirit. Ning Fan had obtained a lot of these spiritual herbs from the Lost World Palace. Compared to asking Yulong to collect them, it was obviously faster to transport them from the Lost World Palace. Within 10 years, Ning Fan had concocted a total of 225 spirit consolidating pills. His success rate was around 90%. Among these 225 spirit consolidating pills, 18 of them had been infused with the golden blood of the demon marshal. 18 drops of golden blood contained 3600 monster force, which, after being transformed by the pill, could be used to increase one's strength. After 10 years of concocting pills, Ning Fan's magic power became solid again. He only consumed the spirit consolidating pill that contained the demon blood. As for the other 207 pills, he left them for Luo Yu to use to stabilize her primordial spirit. Originally, 18 drops of golden blood were only enough to increase his magic power by 3600 units. However, after concocting the pills, the power of the demon blood was absorbed more thoroughly. Ning Fan's magic power increased by nearly 5,000 units. Magic power, 19,060 units. With the increase of his magic power and the stabilization of his primordial spirit, Ning Fan's breathing became longer and longer. Then he began to concoct the mid-grade 5th revolution pill, Thunder Profound Pill. To divine transformation realm cultivators, this kind of pill was extremely expensive. A single pill was worth 5 million immortal jade. Its effect was to increase an early divine transformation realm cultivator's magic power by 100 units. To ordinary cultivators, the opportunity to consume this pill was naturally expensive. However, to pill refinement masters, they could save a lot of money by preparing their own spiritual herbs and concocting the pills themselves. The cost of a single pill was only around 1 million immortal jade. To Ning Fan, the cost was even lower. His spiritual herbs were basically snatched and brought over. Who had ever seen Ning Fan buying pills properly? To Ning Fan, the significance of immortal jade had always been for cultivation, setting up formations and increasing the power of the star positioning compass. He rarely used money to buy things. At least in the Endless Sea and the Luoyun tribe, he did not need to care about anything. Strength was everything. To concoct the Profound Thunder Pill, Ning Fan needed 3 months to concoct a cauldron of pills, and he could only concoct 1 pill at a time. In the first 5 years, Ning Fan only concocted 5 Profound Essence pills. His success rate was less than 30%. In another 5 years, Ning Fan concocted 8 Profound Essence pills. His success rate had reached 40%. In another 10 years, Ning Fan concocted 21 Profound Essence pills. His success rate had already exceeded 50%. In another 20 years, Ning Fan concocted 62 Profound Essence pills. His success rate was close to 80%. After 40 years of concocting pills, Ning Fan had already used up all the medicinal herbs he needed to concoct the Profound Essence pills. The area on his medicine soul that had deepened to almost half of its original color had already darkened. In 40 years, Ning Fan concocted 96 Profound Essence pills. The improvement in his pill refinement mastery was not insignificant. He was becoming more and more like a grandmaster. Among the mid-5th revolution pill refinement masters in the Rain world, there were less than 3 people who could increase their success rate to 80%. Ning Fan was one of them. It took Ning Fan 5 months to completely refine the 96 Profound Essence pills. 5 months later, Ning Fan's magic power had reached 28,320 units. The 340 units that he had lost was due to his medicinal resistance. His magic power became weak again. Ning Fan spent another 10 years concocting many 5th revolution healing pills to stabilize his magic power. Counting carefully, it had already been 67 years and 6 months since he entered the Lost World Tower. More than half of the time had passed. In the remaining time, Ning Fan focused his attention on his sea of consciousness, spirit sense and sword intent. The 17 intent severing pills were consumed one by one. Each of them was enough to make a divine transformation realm sword cultivator go crazy. In the end, all of them ended up in Ning Fan's mouth. As the pills were refined, the 4,700 nascent soul realm sword chi in Ning Fan's sea of consciousness were also refined. His sword intent was stable. His sword intent was at small accomplishment. His sword intent was at grand accomplishment. 3 years later, the sword intent around Ning Fan's body was at least a few times stronger than 3 years ago. The remnant force of the broken immortal trapping sword was completely refined. His sword sense became even more stable. The current strength of Ning Fan's sword sense was not any weaker than Yen Zun's fire sense. He could instantly kill anyone below the divine transformation realm. As for early divine transformation realm experts, he could also severely injure them. When his sword sense swept across, the blood of the enemy cultivators would definitely flow like a river. However, his sword sense was just a means to eliminate small fries. If he were to fight against a half-step void refinement realm expert with just his sword techniques, he would not have much chance of winning. The secret swords of the Sword Sovereign were becoming less and less useful, because the grade of these secret swords was too low. Ning Fan pondered for a while. There were several divine transformation realm sword techniques in his storage pouch, but none of them caught his attention. His mind kept pondering and suddenly, an idea flashed across his mind. He thought of the Eastern Profound Sword Formation on the Ingzhou Immortal Island. Since he had the Heart Formation technique, why didn't he use the Sword Formation to kill his enemies? The Eastern Profound Sword Formation was a peak divine transformation realm sword formation. After Ning Fan modified it, the number of formation eyes had exceeded 5,000, and it had become a mortal void sword formation. The purpose of modifying the sword formation was to use the heart formation technique to lay down a formation with magic power to kill his enemies. The River Luo heart formation could form a grand formation with just a single thought of his. If Ning Fan successfully cultivates the heart formation of the Eastern Profound Sword Formation, he would undoubtedly have another method to fight against a half-step void refinement realm expert. The heart formation technique was affected by his cultivation base, spirit sense, Tao of formations and many other factors. However, by relying on his profound sword intent, Ning Fan was barely able to condense a sword formation. As for the other formations, they were slightly inferior. Condense. Ning Fan began his boring cultivation and condensed sword chi of the heart formation technique. After the modification of the Eastern Profound Sword Formation, there were 5,000 formation eyes. In total, he needed to condense 5,000 traces of natal sword chi. Within 10 years, Ning Fan condensed the swords while comprehending the formation. His cultivation base in the Tao of formations improved tremendously, and he had a deep understanding of the Tao of formations. 10 years later, Ning Fan's sword chi was abundant. He walked out of his cave residence and pointed at a star which had a radius of 10,000 li. All of a sudden, sword mountains appeared out of thin air in all directions of the star. There was a total of 5,000 sword mountains. In each of the sword mountains, there was rarely any sword chi that was comparable to a peak nascent soul realm attack. The sword chi formed a formation. In the void, a massive sword diagram unfurled like a scroll, engulfing the star within it. At the next moment, the sword light inside the sword diagram overflowed in all directions like a broken silver bottle. In an instant, it engulfed the entire star. Boom! As the sword formation was activated, the sword light let out a piercing cry, and the entire star was destroyed. The wind of the explosion swept across the entire void space. Once this sword formation was activated, even a half-step void refinement realm expert would be in grave danger if he or she falls into the formation. Ning Fan nodded his head in satisfaction. In this case, he had one more trump card. There were still 50 years left. Ning Fan decided to refine the immemorial divine weapon. The Separation Slayer sword was naturally inscribed with the word sharp. Each word would have 312 strokes. With Ning Fan's current magic power, he could inscribe 600 words of the word sharp in a day. In just 1 year, he had inscribed 180,000 words of the word sharp on the Separation Slayer sword. The Separation Slayer sword was a peak-grade spiritual treasure. It had the Mortal Void grade soul-burning ability attached to it. The Spirit-Shattering Whip, on the other hand, was inscribed with the word lightning. Another year had passed. The Spirit-Shattering Whip had also reached the grade of a peak-grade spiritual treasure. It had the Mortal Void grade absorption technique and the Mortal Void grade lightning spirit attached to it. Unlike the Separation Slayer sword and the Spirit-Shattering Whip, the Star Fixing Plate did not require any additional spirit seals. With a thought, Ning Fan took out a handful of blood-red star sand. It was none other than the immemorial divine weapon he obtained from revered flame, blood star sand. This handful of star sand was already a peak-grade spiritual treasure. After attaching 180,000 words of the word suppressed to it, it was equivalent to a half-step void treasure. It was a pity that this handful of star sand, which had been refined by revered flame for many years, had become his fourth immemorial divine weapon. In 3 years, he had refined 3 divine weapons. Now he no longer refined any magic treasures. He held 2 jade slips in his hands which recorded 2 types of magic techniques. One of them was the 5 Burial Dragon technique. It was obtained by killing the city lord of Dragon Burial City when he was traveling across the Sea of Stars. The strongest aspect of this technique was that it could seal one's primordial spirit and demon soul. It could be used to attack cultivators who have incarnated. The second technique was the Samadhi Fire Palm. It was a technique that the Rain Palace bestowed upon him by revered flame. It was at the Mortal Void realm, and there was no need to mention its destructive power. If it wasn't for Ning Fan's fire resistance, he would definitely not be able to withstand this technique easily. Thousands of cultivation methods and magic techniques were echoing in his mind. All of them were practiced by the women he had plucked. Ning Fan sat on the star compass with the Eastern Ocean bell above his head. He traveled across the void space and studied many magic techniques. 30 years passed just like that. There were still 17 years left before he would leave the Lost World Tower. In the next 7 years, Ning Fan used several types of spiritual herbs to grind their medicinal liquid and cleanse his left eye, trying to increase the illusory power of the Fu Li eye. As such, there were only 10 years left before he would leave. During this year, Ning Fan suddenly raised his head. The Fu Li eye in his left eye shone with bright purple light. It seemed like he had broken through a small bottleneck. After improving his eyesight, Ning Fan lifted his head and his expression suddenly changed. After being cleansed for 7 years, his Fu Li eye had improved tremendously. This time, he could clearly see that there was an 8th floor in this Lost World Tower. The Lost World Tower of Penglai Immortal Island clearly only has 7 floors. Why would there be an 8th floor? What exactly is on the 8th floor? Ning Fan stepped on the star compass. The entire silver continent rose rapidly towards the peak of the void space. It only stopped when it hit a barrier. He touched the barrier with his palm. He did not immediately break the barrier. Instead, he activated his left eye to its limit, trying to see through the 8th floor to see what was inside. With his powerful eyesight, Ning Fan could vaguely see that there was a dark pavilion above the 8th floor. It was not particularly spacious. It was merely 10,000 zhang in size. There were hundreds of ancient statues standing in the pavilion. They protected 7 stone platforms like stars surrounding the moon. Each of the 7 stone platforms was enshrined with a piece of golden crystal. The crystal gave off a strange energy as if it had the ability to reverse time. Ning Fan took a deep breath. He finally realized what was above the 8th floor. The 8th floor was not set up for cultivators to cultivate. Instead, it was a place to enshrine the crystal. It was those 7 pieces of crystal that had reversed the flow of time on the 7th floor of the Lost World Tower. What exactly are these crystals? Ning Fan's eyes were burning with passion. He did not know what the crystals were, but he deeply realized that they were probably extremely precious. Should I steal one and have a look? This thought immediately grew in Ning Fan's mind. Chapter 375. As soon as this thought popped up in his mind, he could not extricate himself from it. Even though Ning Fan did not know what the 7 pieces of crystals were, he could guess that they were powerful enough to reverse the flow of time in the Lost World Palace. The value of those crystals was enough to shake the entire Rain world. No, it was even more valuable. The crystals gave Ning Fan a feeling that the power contained within them was supreme, just like the power of samsara. It was definitely not something that he could touch, because it was untouchable. It further proved that these crystals were a great opportunity. Ning Fan placed his palm on the spatial barrier in front of him, estimating the possibility of breaking it. The spatial barrier between the 7th floor and the 8th floor was built to prevent void fragmentation realm cultivators from passing through. Its sturdiness was enough to defend against the attacks of any void fragmentation realm old monsters. Even though Ning Fan had the wind mist finger which allowed him to borrow a trace of samsara power, he would not be able to melt this spatial barrier without several years of hard work. Ning Fan's wind mist finger was enough to break an immortal void realm grand formation. Even he found it difficult to break it. Ordinary void fragmentation realm old monsters would not be able to enter the 8th floor at all. In the Rain world, no one could steal the 7 pieces of crystals. Ning Fan's mind raced. He still had 10 years to stay in this place. It would not be difficult for him to spend a few years to break the barrier. However, will there be other dangers in the 8th floor? It would be unreasonable if the 7 pieces of crystals were placed here without any protection. Purple light flashed in Ning Fan's left eye. After a long time, he confirmed that there was no protective formation on the 8th floor. His eyes scanned across the hundreds of ancient statues, and he seemed to be deep in thought. These statues seemed to be decorations. However, are they really just decorations? No. That's not right. Ning Fan bit the tip of his tongue, and sacrificed a mouthful of blood essence to strengthen his Fu Li eye. This time, he could vaguely see the internal structure of the statue that was closest to him through the spatial barrier. It was not a statue. All of these statues were puppets that were in a sealed state. Besides, if Ning Fan was not mistaken, each of the puppets here was a void refinement realm being. Hiss. Ning Fan could not help but be shocked by the generosity of the Lost World Palace. There were hundreds of void refinement realm puppets in the Lost World Tower. Even if a void fragmentation realm expert of the Rain world managed to enter the 8th floor, even a void fragmentation realm old monster might not be able to withstand the joint attacks of hundreds of void refinement realm experts. When he thought of this, he suddenly fell into silence. His fiery emotions gradually calmed down. He could imagine that once he enters the 8th floor and takes away the crystal, all of the spiritual puppets would be alerted, causing them to release their seals. At that time, there would be hundreds of void refinement realm puppets attacking him at the same time. It would be difficult to guarantee his survival. Was it not worth it to take such a huge risk for this unknown crystal? Even if Ning Fan obtained this crystal, it would be impossible for him to use the crystal to reverse time without the formation of the Lost World Tower. However, Ning Fan could vaguely feel the enormous energy coming from the crystal. If I can devour one piece, even if it's only one piece, Ning Fan was confident that his magic power could break through to the mid-divine transformation realm. Once all 3 of his powers reached the mid-divine transformation realm at the same time, and combine them into one, it would not be difficult for him to break through to the late divine transformation realm. There was even a sliver of a chance for him to reach the peak of the soul formation stage. The opportunity was right in front of him, but along with the great opportunity came great risks. Ning Fan struggled in his heart. He looked at the 7 stone platforms and pondered. What are the chances of me stealing the crystal? Looking at the hundreds of puppets, Zhang Xian counted silently. There were a total of 343 puppets in this batch. Among them, each of the 49 puppets seemed to be responsible for guarding the crystal on one of the stone platforms. Does this mean that if Ning Fan only takes away one piece of crystal, he would only be attacked by 49 puppets? With that thought in mind, the risk seemed to have been reduced to 1/7 of the original risk. If there are only 49 void refinement realm puppets attacking me, I might be able to fight. I also have a large number of spiritual puppets with me. Among them, there are even 3 void refinement realm puppets. These puppets might be able to stop me for a while. However, if they are attacked by 49 Void Refinement Realm puppets, they will definitely be severely damaged. The puppets guarding the 7 stone platforms are the same. However, the 7 pieces of crystal correspond to the 7 floors of the Lost World Tower. The flow of time on the 7 floors is different. I'm afraid that the energy contained in the crystals is also different. The crystal that is responsible for slowing down the flow of time on the 7th floor must be the strongest one. If I only take away one piece of crystal, I naturally want to take the strongest one. However, if I steal this crystal, it will definitely cause the 7th floor to lose the effect of time cultivation. However, this is also the benefit of taking away the crystal of the 7th floor. The probability of being discovered is the lowest if I take away the crystal of the 7th floor. After all, the 7th floor is a floor that only Void Fragmentation Realm experts can enter. However, Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Rain World rarely come to the Lost World Tower to cultivate. Naturally, no one will notice that the effect of time slowing has disappeared. Even if there is a loophole in the plan and some Void Fragmentation Realm expert discovers it, causing the 7th floor to lose its effect of cultivation, it will still be something that will happen many years later. Who would be able to guess that I'm the one who stole the crystal? Even if they can guess it, I'm afraid that I would already have the strength of a Void Refinement Realm expert, or even a Void Fragmentation Realm expert by then. Moreover, I have a close relationship with the Lost World Palace. Why would the Lost World Palace hold me responsible for a piece of crystal of the Silver Tower in the lower world? This crystal is certainly precious in my eyes. However, in the eyes of those immortals, it's probably not worth mentioning. The puppets guarding the crystal are only at the Void Refinement Realm. This is the biggest proof. If this crystal is enough to make immortals drool over it, the Lost World Palace would naturally be worried that some immortals would come to the lower world to steal the crystal. Thus, the puppets that they set up would not just be at the Void Refinement Realm. Hundreds of thoughts flashed across Ningfan's mind as he weighed the pros and cons. What seemed to be an extremely bold action gradually became feasible after various analyses. He had many spiritual puppets and the star positioning plate. At the moment when he takes away the crystal of the 7th floor, he would immediately turn around and flee. With the help of the spiritual puppets, his chances of successfully escaping would be at least 50%. If his speed is a little faster and attains the Void Refinement Realm, he could use a self-damaging secret technique to further increase his speed. Then, his chances of successfully stealing the crystal would increase by at least 10%. Ningfan stretched out his fully purple wings and calculated inwardly. If he engraved 180,000 spirit seals on his wings, it would not be difficult for him to advance from the half-step Void Refinement Realm to the Void Refinement Realm. 60% is still a little low. However, I still have the Morning Life Imprisoning technique, which specializes in restraining all kinds of spiritual puppets. Even though I can't subdue the Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets with my current cultivation level, I should be able to stop the puppets for a while, and make them lose their senses for a moment. In this case, my chances of success are 70%. 70% chance of success. It's worth it to gamble on the chance of attaining the peak divine transformation realm. Ningfan's eyes flashed with determination. He had already made up his mind to steal the crystal of the 7th floor. What he needed to be wary of was the secret technique of the Lost World Palace's puppet fusion. If the 49 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets fuse into a Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppet, it would be difficult for Ningfan to escape. Once he discovers that the spiritual puppets are showing signs of fusion, he must immediately interfere with them using magic techniques. A thorough, bold and slightly crazy plan gradually took shape in Ningfan's mind. There are countless choices in life. If one makes a wrong choice, his entire clan will be wiped out. However, if one is afraid of everything and runs away from everything, he will never have the chance to be superior to others. If the odds of success are high, it will be an opportunity. If the odds of success are low, it will be a risk. Ningfan began to make thorough preparations. In the first year, he engraved 180,000 spirit seals with the word speed on his Fuli wings. allowing his maximum speed to break through the early void refinement realm. In the second year, Ningfan spent 500 million immortal jade to ignite all 30,000 star lamps in the star positioning plate and activated its strongest defense. In the third year, Ningfan took out 25 divine transformation realm spiritual puppets, the Black Dragon refined corpse and 3 void refinement realm spiritual puppets. He carefully repaired the damage of all the spiritual puppets to ensure that they were in their peak condition. From the 4th year to the 7th year, Ningfan continuously eroded the spatial barrier of the 8th level with his wind mist finger. The barrier, which was strong enough to defend against void fragmentation realm attacks, gradually cracked under his relentless attacks. The barrier leading to the 8th level became thinner and thinner. On a certain day, it became as thin as a piece of paper which could be broken with a single poke. Ningfan kept his wind mist finger. He only needed to take a light step, and he would be able to completely cross the barrier and enter the space of the 8th level. Once he enters, he would have to face a huge gamble where he had a 70% chance of success and a 30% chance of death. Even with Ningfan's cold and indifferent personality, he felt slightly nervous. However, it was not a bad thing. An appropriate amount of nervousness could make one more focused. With the star positioning plate in his hand, and the 29 refined spiritual puppets following behind him, Ningfan took a deep breath and stepped into the space of the 8th level, with a single step. His forehead was slightly covered with beads of sweat. His footsteps were filled with probing. If this first step leads to any unforeseen events, he would immediately take a step back and return to the 7th level to be safe. Dong! The sound of Ningfan's footsteps reverberated in the 10,000 zhang. Spacious palace. However, it did not lead to any attacks. Judging from the situation, Ningfan was safe until he touched the crystal. After his body completely passed through the barrier, Ningfan became 200% vigilant. He carefully observed his surroundings and walked towards one of the 7 stone platforms. The crystal on that stone platform had the strongest energy fluctuation. That crystal was the treasure which could slow down time in the 7th level. Standing in front of the stone platform, Ningfan gently flapped his fuli wings. He was ready to retreat and escape back to the 7th level at any time. His palm was just half an inch away from touching the crystal. If there are no disturbances in the 10,000 zhang palace, Ningfan could escape in an instant. After this instant, he might live or die. At this moment, Ningfan could still regret his decision and retreat. However, if he runs away, this opportunity to break through to the peak divine transformation realm would vanish like smoke in thin air. Every step above the divine transformation realm was extremely difficult. Ningfan would not have the chance to encounter a crystal-grade treasure which he could use to break through to the next level every time. If I gamble, I would have a 30% chance of dying. If I don't gamble, what cultivation base would I use to fight against Moksha Sovereign after 10 years? Ningfan's eyes flashed with determination, and he muttered to himself. Even if I only have 60%, 50%, or even 40% chance, I still want to gamble. I can't let my master be hurt by that evil disciple again. Ding! Ningfan's fingertip touched the crystal. When the crystal touched the stone platform, a faint sound was heard. At the moment when the sound was heard, Ningfan grabbed the crystal and flapped his wings without hesitation. He flew towards the passage of space that was 1 zhang away and fled at full speed. At the same time, the seals on the 49 statues that were guarding the stone platform were broken after countless years of silence. They regained their ability to move. At this moment, the 49 spiritual puppets emitted void refinement realm aura force. All of their killing intent locked onto Ningfan. Seal. The 49 spiritual puppets uttered the same word in unison. 49 traces of void power turned into 49 layers of pitch-black gigantic walls, sealing off all of Ningfan's escape routes. They were not joking around. They really wanted to kill the person who stole the crystal. The person who steals time shall die. That's right. The power contained in those 7 crystals was exactly time. An unprecedented sense of crisis descended upon Ningfan's body. If he could not escape from the 49 layers of seals, he would be blasted into ashes by the 49 void refinement realm spiritual puppets in the next moment. A threat of life and death. Chapter 376. 49 layers of void walls blocked his path, making it impossible for him to advance or retreat. With 49 void refinement realm seals, almost no one below the void fragmentation realm could escape from them. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. If he doesn't destroy this wall, he will die in an instant. He changed his hand seal and channeled his magic power into the Eastern Ocean bell. The golden bell grew with the wind, and with a sudden tremble, it let out a clear and ancient bell sound. Layers of golden sound waves spread out in all directions. All of the spatial seals shattered upon contact with the sound waves. Among the 49 puppets, one of them let out a soft cry of surprise. Clearly, it did not expect Ning Fan to be able to break free from the barrier. Almost at the moment when he broke through the barrier, Ning Fan pounded his chest and coughed out more than 10 mouthfuls of blood essence. With a flap of his fooly wings, his speed was close to that of a mid-void refinement realm cultivator. As he hurriedly retreated, he barely avoided the 49 layers of void power attacks. However, a sense of horror immediately rose in his heart. That soft sound of surprise didn't escape Ning Fan's ears. He didn't expect that one of the 49 puppets would be a living creature. The 343 puppets guarding this place were definitely the type without intelligence. There was no doubt about it. After all, they were guarding the 7 crystals. If they used sentient puppets, other unforeseen events might occur. However, Ning Fan believed that he did not hear wrongly. There was a puppet. For some unknown reason, it was a living creature. This was definitely an unforeseen event that Ning Fan did not expect. However, it did not hinder him from escaping. With the addition of the 180,000 speed spirit seals and the self-destruction of his blood essence, Ning Fan's speed had already reached its maximum limit. As long as he could stop the group of sea demons for an instant, he would be able to escape. While escaping, Ning Fan made a series of hand seals, commanding the 3 spiritual puppets to protect him. Heitung and the dragon corpse were at the second layer of protection, while the other divine transformation realm spiritual puppets formed a circular defensive formation. At the same time, he activated the star fixation plate, spreading out a massive star map. 30,000 star lamps rose, and the formation light of the starlight instantly lit up. Ning Fan had spent 500 million immortal jades to activate the light of the star formation. As long as he has enough immortal jades, no one below the mid-void refinement realm would be able to break this formation. Of the 49 void refinement realm puppets, 40 were at the early stage, 7 were at the middle stage, and 2 were at the late stage. Among the 2 late-stage puppets, one of them was the puppet that Qing Yi had seen earlier. Oh! An immemorial divine weapon in the form of a formation. The late nascent soul stage puppet exclaimed in surprise again. Together with the other 48 spatial tempering stage puppets, countless fist projections hurtled toward the starlight. Even though the stellar positioning plate was fully activated, and its defense was heaven-defying, it could only hold on for a short moment in the face of the swarm sea serpent's attack. When the formation light shattered, Ning Fan felt as if his chest had suffered a heavy blow. The backlash was extremely heavy, but he forced himself to swallow the sweet blood. His eyes were filled with determination. The stone platform was only 10,000 zhang away from the exit. After breaking the barrier of the void and activating the star formation, Ning Fan was now only 3,000 zhang away from the exit. As long as he could escape the last 3,000 feet, he would be able to obtain the time crystal, combine the 3 powers, and reach the peak. Time Thief Die. The sea serpent, 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 sea. If Ning Fan allowed these punches to hit him, he would no longer be able to defend himself even if he had to use all of his spiritual puppets as a meat shield. Morning Art. Life Imprisonment. Puppets of 100 million worlds. None of them have my life. All of them are my life prisoners. One finger and your life will be forfeited. Ning Fan's eyes were unprecedentedly focused. This one finger, life imprisonment, was his last desperate attack. He must make the group of spiritual puppets lose their focus and stop attacking. His eyes became even more indifferent. Even a true immortal would not be able to have such indifferent eyes. His black hair fluttered without wind. His eyes were as deep as the bottom of a lake. After he pointed his finger, his black hair instantly turned white and his face aged. A ray of cold black moonlight shot out from his finger. At the next moment, a black crescent moon appeared on the faces of the 49 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets one after another. Creak. The moment the crescent moon appeared, all of the spiritual puppets lost their focus and stopped the punches. Only the spiritual puppet with spiritual intelligence exclaimed in shock, as if it had seen something unbelievable. Morning art. The morning art of the ancestor emperor of the northern heaven. I didn't see it wrongly. This is definitely the morning art. This spiritual puppet actually recognized the origin of Ningfan's technique. It was not surprising. If it was under normal circumstances, Ningfan would not use this technique to its maximum level, let alone use the morning art. In this moment of life and death, all he thought about was how to maximize the power of this technique, not how to hide its origin. With the help of the life-imprisoning finger, Ningfan flapped his purple wings again and flew to 1,000 zhang away from the exit. Just one more step, and he would be able to escape. His opponent was a group of 49 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. Ningfan's life-imprisoning finger could only stun them for a split second. In the next second they would attack again with their fists. Ningfan had used the life-imprisoning finger several times, but he had never experienced such a strong side effect like today. His black hair turned white and his face aged. He finally understood why the life imprisonment technique was able to restrain the puppets. This was clearly reducing his own vitality and sealing the life of the puppet. None of the puppets he had dealt with in the past had been at the spatial tempering stage, so there hadn't been such a powerful side effect. His white hair and aged face were the price he had to pay for using this technique. Unless the life force in his body recovers, he would not be able to display the same finger again, let alone use tricks to block the attacks of the puppets. The last 1,000 feet. We must escape. Explode. Ningfan's eyes flashed with determination. While retreating, he sent out a series of finger shadows. Of the 25 Divine Transformation Realm puppets, 10 were at the early stage, 7 were at the mid stage, 6 were at the late stage, 1 was at the peak and 1 was at the half-step Void Refinement Realm. At this moment, in order to stop the 49 puppets for a moment, Ningfan did not hesitate and activated the 10 early-stage puppets to explode first. Boom. The self-destruction of 10 Divine Transformation Realm puppets was extremely powerful. Even the 49 Void Refinement Realm fist lights were able to block it for an instant. There was still 500 zhang left. Ningfan's finger seals changed abruptly. This time, he was performing the sacrificial technique of the fusion of the puppets. The other party's 49 spiritual puppets did not show any signs of merging. To Ningfan, it was a good thing. On the other hand, their own puppets had to be sacrificed and fused together. The moment Ningfan made a series of hand seals, the physical bodies of the 7 mid-divine transformation realm spiritual puppets suddenly burst into black flames. At the next moment, they were reduced to ashes. The black light enveloped the body of the half-step Void Refinement Realm puppet. In an instant, the half-step Void Refinement Realm Haitung's cultivation base also rose to the early Void Refinement Realm. There was a slight struggle in his eyes, but a moment later he revealed a resolute look. After Ningfan made another hand seal, Haitung, who had just broken through to the early Void Refinement Realm, dashed towards the 49 Void Refinement Realm puppets without any fear of death. He faced the fist lights head-on and self-destructed. At the same time, all the remaining puppets on Ningfan's side, including the Void Refinement Realm puppets, hurled their fist lights at the 49 puppets. Boom! With the help of the self-destruction of 1 Void Refinement Realm puppet, and the combined attack of 3 Void Refinement Realm puppets, the 49 Void Refinement Realm fist lights were forcibly dispersed. The force of the fist lights scattered in all directions in the pavilion. The power of the fist lights was greatly reduced. However, when they swept across the area, Ningfan's group was hit by the fist lights. All of them were severely injured. The remaining 6 late-stage puppets and 1 peak-stage puppet were all severely injured. The 3 Realm Beast puppets only suffered light injuries. As for Ningfan, his injuries were the worst. His physical body, which was comparable to the fourth level of the Jade Life realm, was immediately severely injured by the fist lights. With the help of the force of the fist lights, Ning Fan led the group of puppets to escape the last 500 zhong. They had escaped. The moment they escaped from the spatial barrier, the 48 puppets chased after them desperately, as if they wanted to snatch the crystal back. As for the puppet with spiritual intelligence, it looked at Ning Fan's direction and sighed with emotion. It seemed like it was extremely difficult to control this puppet's body. Only after it self-destructed could it reach out with its 5 fingers and condense a black jade slip using void power. With a flick of its finger, it shot out to the 8th floor. Together with the jade slip, a silver token was shot out as well. The barrier was closed. As Ning Fan held the golden crystal in his hand, an unbelievable sentence echoed in his ears. "Little friend is truly extraordinary. Even I failed to steal the crystal and was trapped on the 8th floor. However, you succeeded. I'm ashamed. I'm truly ashamed. The younger generation will surpass us in time." Those words were clearly uttered by that puppet with spiritual intelligence. At this moment, Ning Fan finally had the time to carefully ponder about the peculiarity of that puppet. He should not have seen wrongly before. That puppet indeed did not have spiritual intelligence. That puppet with spiritual intelligence was probably not a living being, but a primordial spirit of some expert that had attached itself to it. Judging from its words, that expert seemed to have tried to steal the crystal like Ning Fan. However, he did not have heaven-defying techniques like Ning Fan's Eastern Ocean Bell, or the life imprisonment technique. Thus he was trapped here until his death. Who is that person? Ning Fan extended his hand and received the black jade slip. It was given to him by that mysterious expert. After confirming that this jade slip was not a trap, Ning Fan inserted his spirit sense into it. A fragmented memory was imprinted on the jade slip and Ning Fan read it. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's expression became extremely strange. It was because the mysterious expert who was trapped on the 8th floor was none other than the former Rain Sovereign. In the current Divine Palace of Rain, the Rain Sovereign was the one with the highest seniority. Below him were Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters, such as Yun Tianjue and Yun Bushu. However, the mysterious expert who was trapped on the 8th floor was a senior, who was 3 generations older than the current Rain Sovereign. His title was Red Cloud Rain Sovereign. Since the formation of the Rain world, there had been more than 1,000 generations of Rain Sovereigns. However, only those who had broken through to the 6th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm and above could be given the title. The current Rain Sovereign did not have a title. That Red Cloud Rain Sovereign's cultivation base was naturally above the 6th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. Ning Fan had been traveling the world. Even though he did not know much about the history of the Rain world, he still knew a little about it. He vaguely heard that the Red Cloud Rain Sovereign who was 3 generations ago had once cultivated in the Lost World Tower. However, he disappeared in the end. Many people guessed that Red Cloud had failed to advance to the next level and died in the Lost World Tower. No one would have thought that the dignified Red Cloud Rain Sovereign would actually do the same thing as Ning Fan, which was to go to the Lost World Tower to steal crystals. Red Cloud did not have Ning Fan's Wind Mist Finger. He used the Sovereign Rain technique in the Lost World Tower. After 100 years in the outside world and 10,000 years in the 7th floor, he only managed to break a hole in the space of the 8th floor. Logically speaking, with his cultivation base at the 6th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm, it should not be difficult for him to steal just 1 crystal. However, he was much more greedy than Ning Fan. He planned to steal all 7 crystals. As a result, he was surrounded by 343 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. Because of his carelessness, in the end, his physical body was reduced to ashes. Out of desperation, his primordial spirit forcefully seized the body of one of the Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets and fused with it. Finally, he managed to escape from the eyes and ears of the spiritual puppets. The pitiful Rain Sovereign of a generation had died in this place without knowing why. Even though his consciousness was still alive, his primordial spirit was too weak. He could not even control the spiritual puppet's body. Being able to give Ning Fan this jade slip was already his best effort. Even Red Cloud Rain's sovereign failed to steal the crystal, but Ning Fan succeeded. It was definitely enough for him to be proud of himself. However, Ning Fan could not feel proud of himself. Looking at the golden crystal in his hand, Ning Fan could not help but worry about his gains and losses. Holding this crystal and feeling the enormous energy it contained, Ning Fan was even more convinced that this crystal was enough to help him break through to the peak divine transformation realm. However, in order to obtain this crystal, he had to pay a huge price. He lost 18 divine transformation realm spiritual puppets, including that half-step void refinement realm spiritual puppet. The spiritual puppets suffered different degrees of damage, but Ning Fan was the one who suffered the heaviest injuries. His secret technique self-destructed, and his injuries were not light. What was more important was that he had lost a large amount of his life force after using the life imprisoning finger. Fortunately, Ning Fan had learned the Black Star healing technique. As long as he recuperates in the Lost World Tower for a year and a half, his injuries would naturally be healed. There were only 3 years left before he had to leave the Lost World Tower. However, as the crystal on the 7th floor was destroyed, the time deceleration effect disappeared. Ning Fan had no choice but to return to the 6th floor to cultivate. 3 years was halved. Now there was only 1.5 years left. This 1.5 years was barely enough for him to treat his injuries and refine the crystal. Ning Fan could only hope that he would be able to refine the enormous power of the crystal before he leaves. In the space of the 6th floor, Ning Fan reopened his cave dwelling. He summoned the Black Star and began to treat his injuries. Looking at the black jade slip in his hand, he smiled bitterly. The reason why the Red Cloud Rain sovereign gave Ning Fan this jade slip was certainly not just to tell him a story. At the end of the jade slip, there was a request. She hoped that Ning Fan would bring the news that she was still alive to the Rain Palace, so that they could come and rescue her. Hong Yun did not expect Ning Fan to rescue her. With Ning Fan's divine transformation realm cultivation base, it was already difficult for him to enter the 8th floor once. If he were to enter again, he was afraid that he would be attacked by the spiritual puppets even if he did not steal the crystal. After all, the spiritual puppets had already remembered his chi. Ning Fan did not have the intention to steal the 2nd crystal. He also did not have the strength to rescue Hong Yun. Therefore, Hong Yun only asked Ning Fan to bring the news that she was still alive back to the Rain Palace and promised him great benefits. She also said that she was willing to give Ning Fan anything as long as he manages to escape. At the end of the Jade Slip, there was also the highest level cultivation method of the Rain Palace, the Sovereign Rain Primordial Technique. It was the strongest cultivation method of the Rain Palace. Only the Rain Sovereigns of each generation could cultivate it. Even the Divine Sons could only cultivate the surface of it. After Ning Fan examined it, he found that there was nothing unusual about this cultivation method. Hong Yun did not alter the cultivation method to plot against him. Hong Yun gave Ning Fan the strongest cultivation method of the Rain Palace in order to gain his favor. She hoped that Ning Fan would save her. Together with this cultivation method, there was also a silver token that was lost along with Hong Yun. The Rain Sovereign's token. Hong Yun died in the Lost World Tower. However, when the other Void Fragmentation Realm experts entered the Lost World Tower, they could not find any of the relics left behind by the Divine Sovereign. The Rain Sovereign's token was the symbol of the Divine Sovereign's identity. It also had a special function that only the Divine Sovereign knew. Since the token was lost, the Rain Palace naturally suspected that the Lost World Tower was the one who hid it. On second thought, perhaps Hong Yun's death was also caused by the Lost World Tower. As a result, almost no Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Rain Palace came to the Lost World Tower to cultivate. Even Void Refinement Realm experts were extremely rare. This was an old grudge. In the entire Rain world, perhaps only Ning Fan knew that this so-called old grudge was just Hong Yun's own doing. She only had herself to blame for dying on the 8th floor after stealing the time crystal of the Lost World Tower. Even Ning Fan had prepared for the worst before entering the 8th floor. Once he dies, he could only blame himself for being unlucky. He could only blame the will of the heavens. He could not blame anyone else. As for Hong Yun's request, after careful consideration, Ning Fan did not decide to help her. What benefits would he get by helping her pass the message to the Rain Palace? If he saves Hong Yun, the Rain Palace would have a second divine sovereign. As the saying goes, a mountain cannot have two tigers. Who knows if the current divine sovereign would kill Ning Fan, silence him or save him? Even if the current divine sovereign was magnanimous and willing to save Hong Yun and give up her position as the divine sovereign, how would she treat Ning Fan after breaking free from her tribulation? Hong Yun clearly recognized Ning Fan's life-imprisoning mourning technique. If Hong Yun breaks free from her tribulation, would she kill Ning Fan and repay his kindness with enmity? Since Hong Yun dared to steal the time crystal, she was naturally not a good person like Ning Fan. She might really repay kindness with enmity. Let's put aside Hong Yun's matter for now. If I want to save her now, I will definitely have to take a huge risk. It's not worth it. Speaking of which, not only did I obtain the time crystal, but I also obtained the cultivation method of the divine sovereign of the Rain Palace. I also obtained the lost token of the divine sovereign, the Rain Sovereign's order. My gains are not small. Even if I have to destroy a lot of spiritual puppets, it's still worth it. Ning Fan stared at the crystal in his palm with burning eyes. He wished that he could immediately swallow this crystal and increase his cultivation base. However, he knew that it was still not the right time to improve his cultivation base. Before that, he had to use the power of the black stars to heal his injuries. After keeping the black jade slip, the Rain Sovereign's order and the crystal, Ning Fan closed his eyes without saying a word. 5 black stars appeared in the void above his head. Countless black starlight twirled around his body. His white hair began to turn back to black. His old and wrinkled skin also began to recover. His injuries were slowly easing and healing. Chapter 377. His essence blood was slowly replenished, and his white hair turned black. His appearance was the same as before. After several months of recuperation, and under the treatment of the black star which had 5 natal stars, Ning Fan's injuries were completely healed despite how severe they were. Black Star's art is indeed profound. Without this art, the injuries I suffered this time aside from the damage to my blood essence, it would have been impossible to recover my vitality. Ning Fan exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi and moved his muscles and bones. After making sure that everything was fine, he revealed a satisfied smile. Looking at the golden crystal, Ning Fan no longer hesitated and decided to consume it. This crystal was filled with the power of time, enough to reverse time 100 times. Its energy was so great that it definitely couldn't be consumed in one go. It needed to be tempered with quite a few spirit medicines. This kind of harmonizing technique was rarely mentioned in ancient chaos memories. However, Shiran had mentioned quite a lot of it in the pill art that she had given him. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a jade bowl. He used tens of spiritual herbs to grind them into a medicinal liquid. Then he soaked the crystal in the medicinal liquid. The crystal emitted faint golden steam and slowly melted into the medicinal liquid. At first, the liquid was dark green in color, but after the crystal melted, it turned into pure gold. Ning Fan lifted the jade bowl. His eyes lit up like torches. He gently took a sip of the medicinal liquid into his stomach, and immediately put down the bowl to refine it. Just by drinking a mouthful of the medicinal liquid, he felt as if his entire body was on fire, and his blood was boiling. The heat waves in his body continued to increase, and his skin actually turned red and purple. Ning Fan could not help but feel a little shocked. He was extremely familiar with this kind of situation. It was clearly the sign of one's body exploding after absorbing too much medicinal power. He only drank a mouthful of the medicinal liquid, but this mouthful of medicinal liquid contained at least 10,000 units of magic power, which was equivalent to eating 100 Thunder Xian pills. Even though Ning Fan had achieved 180,000 units of power by combining the 3 forces into one, his immortal veins nearly exploded because of this mouthful of medicinal liquid. Fortunately, even though he had reached the critical point, his body did not explode after all. He still had a sense of propriety about how much medicinal liquid he should be able to refine in one go. Refine? Ning Fan closed his eyes to refine the medicinal liquid, trying his best to absorb the golden power within it. He finally realized that he had completely underestimated the power of the crystal on the 7th floor. 7 days later, Ning Fan absorbed all of the medicinal power, and his magic power increased by 11,400 units. He took another big gulp of the medicinal liquid and refined it for 7 days. His magic power increased by 12,200 units. The third mouthful, the fourth, 2 months later, Ning Fan had completely refined all of the medicinal liquid. His magic power had increased by a total of 109,400 units. Consuming the golden crystal did not weaken the medicinal power, nor did it cause his magic power to be unstable. After all, this crystal contained the purest power of time, which could not be compared to medicinal pills. Looking at the sticky medicinal liquid that remained on the jade bowl, Ning Fan licked the bowl clean without caring about his image. His magic power increased by another 500 units. After keeping the jade bowl, Ning Fan examined his body with a fiery gaze. After consuming the crystal, his magical power broke through from 28,320 units to 138,220 units. A single piece of crystal could help Ning Fan increase his magic power by 100,000 units. This item was really heaven-defying. In the void, countless silver fire clouds suddenly appeared, and the fire tribulation rained down. The heavenly tribulation, which was enough to make an ordinary divine transformation realm expert's scalp go numb, was directly swallowed into Ning Fan's stomach, allowing the steel of sun and moon to devour it. After looking into his body, he suddenly frowned. He discovered that there was something else in his immortal meridians. A trace of golden blood. That trace of golden blood was extremely tiny. If Ning Fan did not look carefully, he would definitely not notice that there was something extra in his body. He tried to examine the golden blood trace carefully. However, as soon as his spirit sense enveloped the golden blood trace, it immediately disappeared without a trace, as if it had melted into his blood. What is that? Ning Fan frowned. He repeatedly activated his magic power, but did not feel any additional power. He also did not notice any side effects of his magic power becoming sluggish. This is strange. This trace of golden blood obviously appeared after he consumed the crystal. However, he did not know whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. Could it be the mark that the Lost World Palace planted in the crystal? Thinking of this possibility, Ning Fan's scalp immediately went numb. He did not like being hunted by a group of immortals. After repeatedly confirming that the golden blood that had disappeared from his body did not seem to be a mark, Yang Kai's expression became cloudy. The sudden increase in his magic power was a good thing. However, Ning Fan could not feel happy at all. If he did not find out what the golden blood was, he would not feel at ease. After thinking for 10 days, Ning Fan kept looking into his body, waiting for the golden blood to appear again. On the 10th day, a trace of golden blood was formed in Ning Fan's immortal veins again. This time Ning Fan did not give the golden blood a chance to dissipate. He directly used his spirit sense to draw it out of his fingertip. Sensing the trace of golden blood on his fingertip, Ning Fan fell into deep thought. His expression gradually became relaxed. So this golden blood is a trace of the power of time that has fused into my blood. Let's call it the blood of time for now. This blood shouldn't be harmful to me. It will only benefit me. With the help of this blood, I can use a trace of the power of time. Ning Fan heaved a sigh of relief. Then his eyes turned solemn. A trace of purplish golden mist coiled around his fingertip. He looked at the mist in silence. In the past, he did not understand why the mist was purplish golden. Now he understood it. The purple color did not change, but the golden color became a little deeper. The purple color was the Tao of the immortal sovereign. The golden color was the power of time. This technique was what Ning Fan comprehended on his own. It was to imitate samsara. Only now did he understand that he was imitating the power of samsara from the perspective of time. The power to erode everything was based on the golden time. An inch of time is an inch of gold. After keeping the blood of time into his body, Ning Fan calmed himself down. This blood of time could help increase the destructive power of his wind mist finger. It was not a disaster but a blessing. A piece of crystal could increase 100,000 units of magic power, and it could also produce a trace of blood of time. For a moment, Ning Fan really had the urge to steal the remaining 6 pieces of crystals. He finally understood why the dignified Hong Yun Rain's sovereign would steal the crystals. He was afraid that Hong Yun was not interested in the magic power within the crystals, but in comprehending the power of time. Even though the crystals were good, one must be alive to enjoy them. Putting aside the fact that Ning Fan could not steal the remaining 6 pieces of crystals, even if he could, it would definitely be unwise. The 7th floor of the Lost World Tower was destroyed because of the loss of the crystals. However, void fragmentation realm experts rarely came to the Lost World Tower. Who would know that the crystals were missing? If the first 6 floors of the Lost World Tower are also destroyed, the fact that Ning Fan stole the crystals would probably be exposed immediately. It was obviously unwise. Ning Fan put away all his thoughts and calmed himself down, trying to adjust his condition to his peak. The shortcoming of his magic power had been made up for. His divine, demon and devil powers had all broken through to the mid-divine transformation realm. Next, Ning Fan would try to fuse the 3 powers like fusing 3 types of divine intent. The rain intent, mountain intent and Fuli intent realm were fused into a painting by Ning Fan. That intent realm was the reminiscence of the 7 apricot city. It was a kind of determination to freeze all the past in the cycle of reincarnation. With the experience of fusing the intent realm, it would not be too difficult to fuse the 3 powers. Ning Fan's goal was to break through the limitations of the races and erase all traces of the divine, demon and devil races. From today onwards, he was neither a member of the divine race nor a member of the demon race, nor a member of the devil race. He was just Ning Fan. 3 days later, Ning Fan's eyes lit up and he shouted coldly, "Condense." As soon as he uttered this word, black snow began to fall from the sky within 10,000 li. Ning Fan's body was enveloped in purple light, as if he was wearing a purple robe. A plum tree appeared behind him. It had blood-red plum blossoms and a pitch-black tree trunk. This painting used 3 types of divine wills. The 3 types of divine intent were completely different, and their natures were completely opposite. However, they were fused into one. It was all because of Ning Fan's obsession and memories. He was never obsessed with his own race. He was only obsessed with whether he could have the strength to protect his family, be it divine, demon or devil. No matter which path he chose, he would still be Ning Fan in the end. Fuse. The 3 powers began to fuse. Since the ancient Chaos era, no one had been able to achieve such a feat. Who would have thought that there would be another Ning Fan who cultivated 3 powers at the same time in the future of cultivation? Devil Chi and demon power fused while demon power and magic power overlapped. For a moment, Devil Chi surged from Ning Fan's body. In the next moment, he was filled with divine Chi, while in the next moment, he was filled with dense demon Chi. The 3 completely different auras disappeared without a trace in the end. 1 month later, Ning Fan opened his eyes. His eyes did not have the compassion of the divine race, the bloodthirst of the devil race or the treachery of the demon race. What he had was just an easygoing expression as usual. "I am me." He suddenly stood up. After fusing the 3 powers, his magic power was still the dominant one. However, his magic power had reached 293,130 units. He had already broken through to the late divine transformation realm, and was only a step away from the peak divine transformation realm. With just a thought, he could turn these 300,000 units of magic power into devil Chi and demon power at will. The path he was walking on was not the path of gods, demons or devils. Instead, it was a completely different path. Before the ancient Chaos era, someone had walked on this path. After the ancient Chaos era and the great ancient emperors died, no one else walked on this path. This was the ancient Tao of cultivation. Fiery clouds appeared in the sky again. This time, before the fiery clouds could condense, they were shattered by Ning Fan's palm, and devoured all of the silver flames of the heavenly tribulation. The heavenly tribulation this time was enough to severely injure a late divine transformation realm expert. However, with Ning Fan's current strength, he would not care about such a degree of injury. I'm just a step away from breaking through again. I might as well break through to the peak divine transformation realm in one go. Ningfan patted his storage pouch and held a peak void refinement realm Dao fruit in his hand. There were 5 Dao fruits that Wei Xian had given him. One was at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, while the other 4 were at the peak void refinement realm. If Ningfan consumed this Dao fruit with his mid-divine transformation realm cultivation base, his body would only explode. If he consumed it with his late divine transformation realm cultivation base, he could barely absorb 1/3 of the medicinal power of the Dao fruit. A peak void refinement realm Dao fruit contained at least 50,000 units of magic power. With Ningfan's current cultivation base, it was too wasteful to consume a Dao fruit of this level. It would be best if he consumed it when he was about to break through to the void refinement realm. However, this was an urgent matter. In order to achieve another breakthrough, he could not afford to waste it. After using tens of spiritual herbs to harmonize the power of the Dao fruit, Ningfan swallowed the fruit, and his magic power increased by nearly 20,000 units. When his magic power reached 312,500 units, Ningfan broke through the calmness in a single breath. The domineering aura force of a peak divine transformation realm cultivator rose from his body. Even the stars beneath his feet trembled. Peak divine transformation realm. Above the hollow space, the silver flames of the heavenly tribulation took shape once again. The destructive power of the fire tribulation this time was already comparable to the fatal attack of a half-step void refinement realm expert. It was not to be underestimated. This time, the fire tribulation was enough to make a void insight realm expert suffer. Ningfan no longer relied on the steel of sun and moon to overcome the tribulation. Black devil flames swirled around his body. With a grasp of his 5 fingers, the soul of the star and the earth was sucked into his hand and swallowed into his body. After using the soul extraction technique, Ningfan's aura force had completely increased to the half-step void refinement realm. If he could be said to be killing people who were at a higher level than him in the past, the current him was at the same level as the 7 venerated beings of the internal sea. The increase in his strength was certainly not trivial. Samadhi Fire Palm. Ningfan sent out a palm strike. A 1,000 zhang fiery palm soared into the sky and went against the fire clouds. The so-called blood clouds of the heavenly tribulation were directly reduced by 1/10 after being hit by this palm strike. Without relying on any magic treasures to block the tribulation, Ningfan's eyes revealed a fearless expression. All of the magic power in his body gathered in the center of his palm. He recalled Yan Zhong's palm force and the palm strike that destroyed the southern prison country. Inwardly, he understood more and more things. Originally, there was only one palm imprint in the center of his palm. However, as Ningfan channeled his magic power into it, the second palm imprint immediately emerged. Break. This palm imprint was already 2,000 zhang in size. At the moment when it hit the tribulation clouds, the remaining tribulation clouds immediately collapsed as if they were dried twigs. This palm strike had exhausted all of his strength. Only void refinement realm cultivators could use this palm strike. The truth proved that Ningfan's application of the Samadhi Fire Palm was a few streets ahead of Revered Flame. Based on Reverend Yan's talent, it was impossible for him to form the second layer of the palm print, as expected of a mortal void magic technique. Ningfan opened his mouth and sucked in all the scattered flames into his stomach. Then he sat in a cross-legged position to recover his magic power. There wasn't much time left until he left the pill tower. Rather than cultivating, it was better to stabilize his peak soul transformation cultivation. After spending 126 years together in the Lost World Tower, his bone age was already close to 500 years old. Ningfan did not dare to say that his innate talent was unparalleled, but it was definitely enough for him to be proud of himself. However, at this stage, Ningfan became even more aware of the difficulty of breaking through to the void refinement realm. When one's cultivation base reaches the peak divine transformation realm, the effects of consuming an early divine transformation realm Dao fruit would be reduced by half. From the peak divine transformation realm to the half-step void refinement realm, it would probably be very difficult to increase the magic power of 200,000 units. A year was a very short period of time for cultivators. However, during this 1 year, Lu Qing did something that made him regret endlessly. He realized that Bei Xiaoman and Ning Fan had an ambiguous relationship. Thus, he made the decision to report the news to the Lost World Palace. However, he did not expect that the news would bring his mistress so much trouble. In the southern tower, Lu Qing stared at the unruly group of people in the main hall. His heart was filled with self-blame. Lu Qing, are you the one who asked them to come? Bei Xiaoman's brows were cold. She did not like the feeling of being betrayed. Fourth mistress, it's my fault. If I knew this would happen, I would never dare to do such a thing. I regret it. Lu Qing's face was filled with remorse. The reason why he reported the relationship between Bei Xiaoman and Ning Fan was because he did not want his mistress to fall deeper into trouble. However, he did not expect that it would bring him even more trouble. What's the use of regretting? Get them out of here. Bei Xiaoman clenched her fists tightly. If it was not because she knew that Lu Qing meant well, she would certainly not let him go. Her beautiful eyes scanned across the main hall. There were a total of 49 people in this group, and all of them were at the divine transformation realm. The leader of the group was a young man in black robes. His name was Shimenyi. He was the person that Bei Xiaoman hated the most. That kind of disgust came from the bottom of her heart. It was completely different from the hatred she had for Ning Fan. Shimenyi, I won't go with you, Bei Xiaoman said coldly. You are my fiancé. Do you think I will allow you to say no when I bring you away? Bei Xiaoman, let me tell you. With your unruly personality and your low potential, I, Shimenyi, will never like you. Our marriage is just a condition for the Lost World Palace and the Shimen clan to form an alliance. Moreover, I had obtained the Great Elder's permission to descend to the lower world today. You should know that if the Great Elder agrees to it, even your mother will not be able to protect you. The young man's eyes were cold. He did not care about Bei Xiaoman at all. However, when he heard that his fiancée was fooling around with another man in the lower world, his heart was filled with killing intent. He could not wait to kill Bei Xiaoman right now. If you follow me obediently, I won't punish you. If you don't, I will break your arms and legs and bring you back to the northern heaven. You can choose for yourself. How dare you? Lu Qing and Shibing were infuriated. Even if this was a marriage arranged by the Great Elder for Bei Xiaoman, even if this marriage was related to the Lost World Palace, and even if the Shimen clan was extremely powerful, they would never allow their mistress to be humiliated. The two of them took a step forward. Their divine transformation realm chi force swept across the area. Vaguely, their chi force seemed to be in harmony with each other. Shibing's chi force, in particular, had been raised to the mid-divine transformation realm. Among the 49 people of the Shimen clan, 30 of them were early divine transformation realm cultivators. When Shibing and Lu Qing's chi force collided with them, their chi immediately became chaotic. Their eyes were filled with surprise. They were not surprised at Lu Qing but at Shibing. Didn't they say that the puppet protecting Bei Xiaoman was an early divine transformation realm cultivator? How could it be a mid-divine transformation realm cultivator? As for the other 19 people, none of their expressions changed. There were 9 mid-divine transformation realm cultivators, 5 late divine transformation realm cultivators, 3 peak divine transformation realm cultivators, and 2 half-step void refinement realm cultivators. The black-robed young man, Shimenyi, was a half-step void refinement realm cultivator. Moreover, his body was just his separated soul. This man is not like Zichuan or Linsu. His potential is unparalleled in the northern heaven. He is one of the 4 sons of the northern heaven. He calls himself Emperor Shi. Shimenyi's expression did not change when Shibing and Lu Qing's chi force collided with him. Instead, his demonic black eyes flashed with a hint of disdain. Bei Xiaoman, you are wearing out my patience. I heard that the person you fell in love with in the lower world is a mid-divine transformation realm cultivator. His combat power is comparable to a half-step void refinement realm expert. His name is Zhou Ming, right? If you don't come with me, I will kill him. Who fell in love with Zhou Ming? Wait. You can't kill him. Bei Xiaoman panicked. She knew how cold-blooded and terrifying Shimenyi was. As expected, you care about him a lot. Ximenye's eyes became even colder. He was definitely going to be cuckolded. His gaze swept across Lu Qing and Shibing, as if he was looking at a bunch of clowns. His gaze carried a demonic power that was as dark as the night. It pierced through the void, and at the next moment, Lu Qing and Shibing suffered a heavy blow. Both of them coughed out blood and were sent flying. They were actually severely injured by Ximenye's gaze. Severely injuring Shibing with just a gaze. What exactly is his cultivation base? Bei Xiaoman suddenly felt a sense of helplessness. You have reached the void fragmentation realm. Yes, Ximenye's true body had already broken through to the void fragmentation realm. Even though his separated soul only had the strength of a half-step void refinement realm cultivator, it was still very powerful. It could even put up a fight against an early void refinement realm cultivator. Humph. Who do you think I, Ximenye, am? Am I the same as you, only at the divine transformation stage? Among the 4 young ladies of the Bei family, only your eldest sister and second sister are worthy of my attention. The other girls are not worth mentioning. Ximenye's words were cold. He took a step forward and reached out his hand to grab Bei Xiaoman. Bei Xiaoman tried to dodge, but Ximenye's gaze landed on her. She felt a sweetness in her throat and blood trickled down her throat. His eyes were filled with resentment. Not just anyone could bully her. No. Miss. Stone Warrior and Lu Qing were both shocked, especially Lu Qing, who was the most regretful. If he had known that the young miss would suffer such humiliation, he would never have reported this matter to North Heaven. She was the dignified 4th Miss of Northski, but she was being bullied and humiliated by the Ximen clan. Moreover, it was the Great Elder's idea. What was the Great Elder thinking? Was he going to be captured and brought back to the Ximen clan to be used as a human cauldron? Boom! Just as the claw was about to land on Bei Xiaoman's body, a ghost-like figure in white robes suddenly appeared in the main hall. He grabbed Bei Xiaoman's waist and with a flash, he dodged Ximenye's claw attack and appeared at the side. Who are you? Ximenye's expression turned cold when he saw the white-robed young man who suddenly appeared. If he was not mistaken, the speed of that white-robed young man had already reached the early void refinement realm. I am the human cauldron that she keeps. Zhou Ming, Ning Fan said coldly. There was a trace of blood on his face. Even though his speed was comparable to a void refinement realm cultivator, he was still injured by Ximenye's claw attack. This man's strength is really strong. He is different from all the other geniuses that I have met in the past. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.